The girl had just turned 16 and was forcibly assigned a husband by the tribe. It was a slovenly wild boar with a mouth full of fangs. What was even more excessive was that upon their first meeting, the wild boar demanded forced mating. Looking at the disgusting and lecherous wild boar, the girl decisively refused. But unexpectedly, the wild boar directly ripped off the girl's skirt. Frightened, the girl grabbed a nearby branch and poked out the wild boar's eye, then immediately fled outside the tribe. But before she could escape the tribe, she was caught and brought back by a fierce tiger beastman. Just as the girl thought she was going to be sentenced to be defiled by a wild boar, the tribal chieftain instead ordered the punishment of that wild boar. The reason was that he had attempted forced mating against the female's will. And furthermore, the girl was to be rewarded with 5 handsome beast husbands with 18-pack abs. The gentle and beautiful peacock beast, the shy but secretly passionate fierce tiger beast, the domineering yet doting eagle beast, the rakishly handsome and scheming black panther beast, the crazy and narcissistic dragon beast. Finally, after experiencing the joy of being surrounded by 5 handsome men, the girl expressed that having one wife with multiple husbands was actually this great. It turned out that just moments ago, Shen Yuran had died suddenly from staying up all night reading novels and transmigrated into a beast world tribe, but was unexpectedly found by a wild boar. Little did she know this was a wild boar in heat, so he directly dragged Shen Yuran to his cave and hurriedly took off his animal hide clothing. Upon hearing this, Shen Yuran's face was filled with fear. He looked up at the disgusting and lewd pig-headed figure before him, a beast man in human form. His mind raced. He quickly realized he had transmigrated to the beast world continent. Presumably, females must be rare and precious here. Therefore, clutching at a sliver of hope, she spoke up, "I am a female. You can't treat me like this." But unexpectedly, this pig-headed male wasn't having it. "Little female, this is not your original tribe. The one I saved belongs to me." Longtooth's female. After saying this, he bent down and grabbed Shen Yuran's skirt hem, violently tearing at it with this rough method, frightening Shen Yuran terribly. She could no longer care about anything else. Grabbing whatever was at hand, she hurled it at the wild boar's face. Accompanied by Longtooth's howl of pain, Shen Yuran finally saw clearly. What she had grabbed was actually a broken branch, and it had directly stabbed into the wild boar beast man's eye. But at this moment, she dared not delay. Scrambling and rolling, she fled the cave. Outside the cave, it was pitch black. Without a second thought, Shen Yuran ran toward the forest ahead. She believed that as long as she ran into the darkness, she could escape the clutches. She absolutely did not want to mate with a wild boar. However, she would not have thought that the injured Longtooth would actually mobilize the tribe's forces to capture her. Just after Shen Yuran ran out of the cave, Changjia pulled out the wooden stick that was stuck in his eye. Along with it, a large string of eyeballs also fell off. A painful wail echoed throughout the tribe. Instantly, it attracted all the ORCs of the tribe. They stared in shock at the terrifying scene inside the cave. Even some timid females were so frightened that they clung to their partners. Meanwhile, Changjia was desperately covering his bleeding eye socket. The pain in his eye made it impossible for him to stand up. "Help me catch that damned female. She's the one who blinded my eye." As soon as these words were spoken, all the ORCs roared in anger. "Damn outsider female. How dare she harm an ORC of our Sunset tribe?" The next moment they set out to catch her. A large group of ORCs charged into the forest. They conducted a carpet-like search. Soon, an ORC in the woods caught the scent belonging to Changjia. He immediately roared, "It was left by that little female. She's right ahead." Meanwhile, Shen Yuran, who was fleeing in panic, upon hearing this roar, ran forward even more desperately. But unexpectedly, she tripped over a branch and fell to the ground. However, she didn't care about the pain. Getting up to run again, suddenly, a large tiger appeared before her, blocking the way. The big tiger picked up Shen Yuran with its mouth and headed back toward the tribe. Shen Yuran struggled violently and shouted, "You despicable beasts, let me go." With that, he smacked his hand right onto the tiger's eyes. Only this time, It was pig dung he had picked up from the wild boar's den. Suddenly attacked by a huge lump of pig, Lullaby could only first carry Shen Yuran in his mouth to the river to wash his eyes. He placed Shen Yuran on the riverbank and then jumped into the water. Seeing that he had entered the water, Shen Yuran turned and ran without a second thought. But before she could reach the edge of the forest, she was once again intercepted by Lullaby. A female has blinded Chanjia's eyes. You must come back with me. Hearing this, Shen Yuran firmly refused. No, it was him who bullied me first. I was just fighting back and accidentally injured his eye. Besides, if I go back, Chanjia will definitely not let me off. She wiped her tears again. Good beastman. Please let me go. I don't want to die. I will remember your kindness for the rest of my life. For a moment, Lullaby became somewhat flustered. It was the first time he had ever seen such a stubborn yet delicate female. After all, the females in the tribe were all very tough. Nothing like her, so fragile and delicate. But if you don't return to the tribe, you'll be killed by wild beasts in the forest. Even if I'm killed by beasts, it's still better than living with that wild boar. Shen Yuran shouted at the top of her lungs. All she wanted now was to escape. Just the thought of that wild boar beastman's body filled her with disgust and fear. Lullaby hadn't expected her to be so averse to Chanjia. Such are the customs of the tribe. Whoever has the ability to bring back a female from the wilderness makes her their possession. This cannot be changed by anyone. And although Longtooth is indeed somewhat ugly in appearance, it shouldn't warrant such rejection, right? After all, he is a beastman of status within the tribe. Seeing that, Lullaby remained silent. Shen Yuran thought she was being let go, so she turned and ran towards the woods. But before she could run more than a couple of steps, she was picked up again. Meanwhile, in the plaza of the Sunset Tribe, all the beastmen were waiting for the males who had gone to find females to return. Longtooth was clutching his eye, which had already stopped bleeding, sitting on the ground in fury. He even declared that once that female returned, he would definitely teach her a proper lesson. Soon, Shen Yuran was brought back by Lullaby. Lullaby gently placed her on the ground and stepped aside. He felt that such a major incident required an explanation to the tribe. Seeing Shen Yuran return, Longtooth clenched his fist, walked over, and grabbed her chin. Damn little female. You actually dared to blind my eye. You're simply seeking death. Shen Yuran's tears streamed down from the force of Longtooth's grip. She tried to pull back, but Longtooth held her firmly. I didn't mean to. You forced me. What did I force you to do? Longtooth found these words laughable. During the day, everyone saw that he had brought back a female. Not only was I happy for him, but I was also very envious. You should know, this little female looks much more delicate and soft than the females in the tribe. Her skin is fair, and her hair is smooth. A pair of lively eyes that seemed to speak. But in the blink of an eye, his own eyes were blinded, and the little female ran away. This was simply a huge humiliation for Lanjia. He is not someone to be bullied. At this moment, Shen Yuran gathered her courage and looked at Lanjia. I don't like you. You insisted on forcing me to mate with you. I was only resisting, and had no choice but to injure you. As soon as these words were spoken, the beastmen all turned to look at Lanjia. Although this little female is an outsider, her status is not as high as the females of this tribe. She is still a precious female. When it comes to mating, it absolutely must not be forced. Lanjia, how could you resort to violence? Don't you know females are delicate and precious? It's fortunate that you were the one injured. If the female had been hurt, that would have been a loss for the tribe. The tribe chief, who had remained silent until now, also understood. This new female simply did not take a liking to this ugly Lanjia. He lowered his head to look at Shen Yuran, who was shrinking on the ground. What is your name? Shen Yuran. The tribe chief nodded with satisfaction. This little female looks very gentle and obedient. Since you are not satisfied with Lanjia, then tomorrow you will join the other 3 adult females of the tribe in attending the mate selection gathering. At that time, you will officially become a member of my Sunset Tribe. Shen Yuran turned to look at the males around her. Each one was disheveled and dirty, and each only used a simple animal hide. to cover their key parts. Yet even so, they were still much better looking than Longtooth. Thinking of today's ordeal and the forest she couldn't escape, she had no choice but to agree. However, Longtooth, who had lost his female, was not having it. "Chief, this isn't fair. She is my mate. No one is allowed to take her away." The chief, whose authority was publicly challenged, glared coldly at Longtooth. "You're female. Have you two worshipped the beast god? And just based on you forcing a female to mate this one point, she is no longer your female. Everyone in the beast world tribes knows. Only after worshipping the beast god does it count as a true union." Looking at the chief's imposing expression, Longtooth could only swallow this bitter pill in silence. But he shot Shen Yuran a vicious glare. He had, after all, paid with an eye. Shen Yuran felt frightened under his gaze, so she followed the female arranged by the chief back to the female's cave. Fortunately, although the female's cave wasn't large, it was relatively clean. She curled up on a pile of somewhat greasy, dry grass, staring fearfully at the cave entrance. That look Longtooth just gave. He probably won't let this go easily. The female Zhao Mai saw her squatting there silently crying, and couldn't help but speak up. "You'd better think about who would be a suitable partner to choose tomorrow." Hearing this, Shen Yuran snapped back to reality. If she wanted to survive in the beast world, she had to choose a powerful male partner. But even so, if she still refused during mating, it probably wouldn't be acceptable. Just as she was troubled, footsteps suddenly came from the cave entrance. "Zhao Mai, are you here?" "Yes." "Black Cat, come here quickly." Hearing the familiar voice, Zhao Mai immediately waved at the black shadow by the cave entrance. The male, called Black Fur, walked over with a smile. But before he reached Zhao Mai, he tore off his animal hide and tossed it aside. With a fierce pounce, he pressed down on Zhao Mai. "I've missed you so much." Zhao Mai, in turn, tightly hugged Black Fur's back. "Hurry up, I've missed you too." In the blink of an eye, the two began their performance. Beside them, Shen Yuran listened to the moaning sounds, completely stunned. "Isn't the female cave? Isn't this the cave where underage females live? How come Zhao Mai is with a male?" "It's fine. It'll be over soon." Shen Yuran turned her body away, covered her ears, and comforted herself. Suddenly, a foot kicked directly onto her back. She turned her head to look. It was Zhao Mai's. However, Black Fur, seeing her turn to look, directly revealing his own tool of mischief, with a mischievous smile. "Sorry about that." Although the cave was extremely dimly lit, Shen Yuran could still clearly see the male's expression. There was no trace of apology. It was clearly a provocation. This beastman was definitely up to no good. So she quickly walked out of this cave. But in the quiet, still tribe at night, almost every cave was busy making little beastmen. Shen Yuran found it somewhat frightening, so she headed towards a quieter spot nearby. Soon, she noticed a cave next door actually had a firelight flickering, and the aroma of roasting meat wafted out from time to time. At that moment, her stomach betrayed her with a growl. She hadn't eaten anything since crossing over, already starving to the point of dizziness, so she followed the scent to the cave entrance, and saw a small fire inside, with a large piece of meat roasting above it. Shen Yuran stared fixedly at the meat, and the owner of the meat looked at her. Huang Yu knew a new female had arrived in the tribe today, and had even blinded Lanjia's eye. The commotion was huge. He couldn't avoid knowing about it. He looked at Shen Yuran, crouching at the cave entrance, staring at him. Her face covered in grime, her hair also a tangled mess. But even so, one could still tell she was quite beautiful. With just one glance, Huang Yu felt a surge of heat rushing straight to his abdomen, so he couldn't help but ask if she wanted to eat some meat. Starving Shen Yuran heard this, swallowed her saliva, nodded quickly in agreement. Upon hearing this, Huang Yu flashed a faint smile. "If you want it, come in and get it yourself." And by now, Shen Yuran had lost all vigilance. All she wanted now was to fill her stomach. So she boldly walked into the cave. Huang Yu also took down the roasted meat and handed it to her. Shen Yuran snatched it over, held it in her hands and started gnawing on it. The meat was very chewy, and carried a faint aroma of barbecue. It was much more fragrant than any delicacies she had ever eaten before. After Shen Yuran finished eating, she wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, then thanked Huang Yu. "Thank you for the roasted meat." Seeing this, Huang Yu smiled and handed her a piece of linen cloth. "You're welcome." But immediately after, he stood up and reached out to wrap his arm around her waist. Shen Yuran was instantly frightened and stepped back repeatedly. She looked in terror at the handsome beastman before her. "What are you doing?" "Of course, taking you to wash up," Huang Yu slowly explained. "Wash up for what?" Shen Yuran's mind momentarily short-circuited. This beastman before her seemed decent enough. But that didn't mean he had to manage her washing up, right? But Huang Yu, hearing the question, didn't think the same way. He suddenly wondered if the female before him had something wrong with her mind. But considering she was quite good-looking, he patiently explained, "Of course, it's for sleeping. How dirty it is to sleep without washing up." After saying that, he raised his hand and touched Shen Yuran's face, which was as messy as a flower cat's. However, this move made Shen Yuran extremely scared. Without thinking twice, she turned and ran outside. But as soon as she turned around, she was grabbed by the wrist by Huang Yu. With a forceful pull, Shen Yuran fell into his arms. "Little female, you ate my meat, which means you agreed to mate with me. Don't tell me you want to go back on your word. I'm not that fool Changya." Shen Yuran stared at him fearfully. Although this male is very good looking, that's no excuse for him to use his beauty to commit violence. Besides, she doesn't have the habit of mating with just anyone. As for this rule, she truly didn't know about it. She thought this person was just pitying her. Who knew there would be such consequences? So she struggled and spoke up. "I'll return the meat to you. Please let me go." But the next moment, she felt a scorching heat coming from her lower back. She suddenly realized what it was, and was immediately too scared to move. And Huang Yu, who had been holding back for a long time, was feeling very uncomfortable from her squirming. But he still had some reason left. "Fine, but you must choose me as your partner tomorrow." Hearing this, Shen Yuran nodded frantically. "As long as you let me go now, I will definitely choose you." Upon getting her promise, Huang Yu immediately released his grip. He felt that if he didn't let go now, he would really take her immediately. Shen Yuran saw him release his hand. She immediately turned and ran outside. She didn't stop until she reached under a tree far away in the tribe. Only then did she let out a sigh of relief. She turned her head, still feeling lingering fear, and glanced at the cave that was no longer visible. She felt like she was about to break down. She had only been here for a day, and had already encountered this kind of thing twice. However, she didn't dare to stay any longer, because she could still see the cave of that vicious wild boar from here. So she gathered her courage and walked into the dark forest. She had to take advantage of the night to get as far away as possible, to avoid being dragged back again. And so, Shen Yuran walked from night until morning. At that moment, she happened to arrive at a riverbank. She hurried over to wash her face, took a couple of sips of water, and then continued walking along the river. She didn't think she was safe just because she had walked all night. In her hand, she still held a branch she had picked up along the way as a weapon. It could at least offer some defense if she encountered danger. But just then, a hyena appeared ahead of her, crouched by the river, drinking water. Seeing this, Shen Yuran felt like she was going to fall apart. These hyenas live in packs. If she got targeted, she'd probably meet her end right here. And to die from an anal attack, she'd rather just be killed outright. At that moment, she suddenly felt, "Seems like the male who gave me meat last night. Life isn't bad either." Just as Shen Yuran was lost in thought, the hunting dog finished drinking water and noticed her. It turned its head and stared straight at Shen Yuran. This scared Shen Yuran so much she didn't dare move. But the hunting dog slowly and cautiously approached her, while letting out a threatening low growl from its mouth. Shen Yuran immediately raised the stick in her hand to threaten it to leave. But the hunting dog didn't stop at all. It bared its teeth and charged straight over. At this, Shen Yuran was so frightened she turned and ran, shouting for help as she ran. Just at that moment, a black shadow flashed past from behind Shen Yuran. Her footing became unsteady, and she fell directly to the ground. But she couldn't care about the pain. Turning her head, she saw a massive black panther, biting the hunting dog's neck in its mouth. Blood dripped down drop by drop, and it started walking towards her. Seeing this, Shen Yuran pleaded in terror, "Please, not me." However, the next second, the black panther's golden pupils slightly contracted. It stopped in its tracks, lowered its head, dropped the prey, then turned and ran into the forest, disappearing. Seeing the danger was gone, Shen Yuran finally let out a sigh of relief. It's too dangerous out here. She must first find herself a place to stay. So she picked up the stick from the ground and slowly stood up, only to find her ankle had swollen up. But she could still walk. She looked down at the bloody hunting dog on the ground and directly threw it into the river nearby. She had no idea how to skin it. It was cleaner to just discard it, to avoid attracting other wild beasts. Meanwhile, the Black Panther beast Zuan Feng stood behind the bushes. Watching this scene, he couldn't understand why this female was throwing away meat. Wasn't she hungry? And where was her mate? Why hadn't he come looking for her after all this time? What an irresponsible mate. And Shen Yuran had no idea about the Black Panther hiding in the jungle. She kept walking along the river without a second thought. Finally, in the afternoon, she discovered a cave in a very good location. The cave was located halfway up the mountain, with no trees blocking the surroundings. Any approaching beast could be spotted immediately, so she limped to the cave entrance. Seeing the inside was very dry, not even a single piece of gravel, she was quite satisfied. Then she walked to a corner of the cave and sat down to rest. But just at that moment, a tall figure appeared at the cave entrance. "You really can run." The familiar voice made Shen Yuran's scalp tingle. She had run all night. How had she been found so quickly? "I said I'd pay you back the meat." "Heh, you said the same thing last night. But then, you ran away." Huang Yu was truly furious. He got up happily in the morning, tidied himself up, and even cleaned the cave very thoroughly, thinking that his home would welcome a female master today, but never expected that the mating ceremony was about to end. And he still hadn't seen that dirty figure. Clearly, he had been tricked by that bad female. She ate his meat and still dared to deceive him. Huang Yu felt like he was about to explode with anger. He turned around and started searching for her, searched all over the tribe, and finally found her in this cave. At this moment, that glistening, fair face was looking at him with great fear. Shen Yuran knew she had deceived him, but it was only because he had designs on her. Yet, remembering the hyenas that wanted to eat her today, and the Black Panther as big as a buffalo, she was truly afraid of this beast. World environment. She understood that if she wanted to survive, she must rely on a male. Moreover, this Huang Yu before her was at least much better looking than Lanjia, and wouldn't force her. So she stared at Huang Yu and said, "Being your female is fine, but I have conditions." Hearing this, Huang Yu breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, he genuinely liked this little female before him. If she insisted on leaving, he wouldn't force her. He had chased after her just to make sure she was safe, but never expected her to actually relent. "Tell me, as long as it's something I can do. You cannot force me to have a relationship with you," Shen Yuran said very formally. Hearing this, Huang Yu was stunned for a moment. Is this considered a condition? Isn't this a principle that males must abide by? Therefore, fearing Shen Yuran would regret it, he quickly nodded in agreement. After saying that, he picked up his little female and returned to his cave. And not long after they left, a pure Black Panther with golden eyes appeared at the cave entrance. Zuan Feng smelled the scent of the little female from the afternoon. This fragrance made him somewhat intoxicated. But within this faint aroma, there was also mixed an unfamiliar male scent. It seemed her mate had found her. But such a delicate and lovely female. He liked her far too much. So he walked over to where Shen Yuran had just been sitting and lay down on the other side. By the time Huang Yu carried Shen Yuran back to the cave, it was already night. Returning to this cave again, Shen Yuran's face flushed a little. Huang Yu placed her on a rock to sit, and she just sat there obediently. But Huang Yu seemed to have already adapted to his new role. thoughtfully roasting a piece of bamboo rat meat. He handed it to Shen Yuran to eat something. Seeing such a large piece of meat before her, Shen Yuran was quite tempted. Moreover, she had just deceived him yesterday. Yet not only did he not get angry, he was now giving her meat to eat. Perhaps he really is a good partner. But the moment she remembered last night's incident, her heart still trembled with fear, so she quickly shook her head, saying, "I'm not hungry." Yet the very next second, her stomach betrayed her with an audible growl. Seeing this, Huang Yu couldn't help but laugh. "Don't worry, I keep my word. If you don't agree, I won't touch you." Hearing this, Shen Yuran could no longer dwell on the earlier awkwardness, because the rich aroma of grilled meat at the tip of her nose made her lose all restraint. "I believe you." After the meal, Huang Yu took her to the river to wash up. And now, they had returned to the cave, ready to rest. But seeing there was only one fur bed, Shen Yuran felt troubled. However, upon second thought, she had agreed to be his partner. Sharing a bed was inevitable. She then walked to the side opposite where Huang Yu usually slept, climbed onto the bed, pulled over the nearby fur blanket, covered herself with it. To block the view, Huang Yu, holding the fur he intended to use as bedding for the night, turned to find she had already settled on the bed, and the side where he usually rested was still left for him. A slight smile lifted the corner of his mouth. He put down the fur blanket, walked to the bedside, glanced at Shen Yuran, who had wrapped herself up tightly, and lay down, feeling quite content. Yet this night, Shen Yuran slept quite soundly. Fell asleep as soon as I touched the bed. However, Huang Yu stayed awake all night. He had always thought this little female was just pretty looking, but he never expected that in the dead of night her scent would be so intoxicating as well. It made his whole body restless and hard to fall asleep, so he simply went out hunting as soon as dawn broke. Now, he was a male with a mate, not like the single male he used to be, where one person full meant the whole family was fed. Moreover, this little female was still very wary of him, and it wasn't good for him to stay at home for too long. By the time Shen Yuran woke up from a full sleep, the entire cave was empty except for her. The fur blanket by her feet was folded very neatly, clearly done by that male. Putting on her somewhat smelly sneakers, and the long shirt dress that had long turned sour, she simply combed her hair with her hands, before leisurely stepping out of the cave for some fresh air. By now, the sun was already high in the sky, but the tribe was bustling with activity. Yesterday was a good day for the tribe. Several bachelors' marriages were settled all at once. Therefore, today, anyone didn't need to gather supplies. They were all resting at home. In the middle of the tribe, several females had gathered, chatting and laughing together. Suddenly, someone sharp-eyed spotted Shen Yuran and pointed at her in surprise, shouting, "That female who ran away is back." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone turned to look at Shen Yuran. This female was too outstanding. The way she dresses is also different from them. More importantly, yesterday she actually blinded Lanji's eyes. Such a female, they couldn't forget even if they wanted to. Shen Yuran somewhat awkwardly waved at them. Good morning." Zhao Mai snorted coldly, "Hey Emph, since you already ran away, why come back?" The females on good terms with Zhao Mai also chimed in. "That's right, and you even got Zhao Mai scolded by the chief." "Exactly, causing trouble as soon as you came to our sunset tribe. Not to mention blinding Lanji's eyes. You also got Zhao Mai scolded. You're simply a jinx." Hearing this information, Shen Yuran felt her heart tighten. This was something she had never expected. She never thought that her running away would cause Zhao Mai to be scolded. This was her fault. Taking a deep breath, she walked up to Zhao Mai. "Zhao Mai, I'm sorry. I didn't expect my disappearance would get you scolded. This is my fault. I apologize to you." "I'm sorry." The sudden apology actually made Zhao Mai a bit uncomfortable. If it were any other female in this situation, they'd probably just ignore her at most. Those with a bad temper might even start cursing at her directly. But she just apologizes directly. This actually made her feel a bit embarrassed. Scratching her slightly itchy scalp. "Forget it. Just make sure you say something before you go anywhere from now on." so I don't get scolded by the clan leader again for nothing. Shen Yuran saw that her temper came and went quickly. She looked like a cheerful and pure female at first glance. He smiled at her. I won't anymore. I have a partner now. Little master, there's more to this chapter. Later, click the next page to continue reading. It gets even more exciting later. That's good. Welcome to our sunset tribe. Zhao Mai smiled and took her hand. Sit down, I'll catch lice for you. Another plump female next to her immediately spoke up excitedly. I'll catch them for the little beauty. Hearing this, Shen Yuran's smile immediately froze on her face. She forgot that these beastmen live in caves, eat the most primitive roasted meat, and probably have lice on them. Then she slept in the cave last night. Doesn't that mean? As soon as she thought of this, she quickly sat down on the stone. Quick, help me catch some. She even felt her scalp starting to itch. Soon, the crackling sound of pinching lice came from behind her. It made her heart tremble. Once you get infested with these things, they're very hard to get rid of. She really didn't want that kind of thing on her head. Zhao Mai, have you found any? Zhao Mai's dark hands combed through her hair back and forth. Apart from some sweat smell, not to mention no lice, there wasn't even a single nit. Otherwise, your hair is very clean. Not a single louse. Hearing this, Shen Yuran finally felt relieved. It's good that there aren't any. It seems she needs to go back and wash all the animal skins on the bed in the cave. She also needs to clean the hygiene inside and out thoroughly. Otherwise, she won't feel at ease. If hygiene is poor in a place like this cave, it's easy to get lice and fleas. Once infested, you can't even sleep well. At this moment, a female wearing white animal skin, with a pheasant feather stuck in her hair, walked over barefoot and said arrogantly, "Hey, have you seen Huang Yu?" Chapter 6. Competing and Scheming. Everyone shook their heads. They've been playing here since morning. Where would they have seen any Huang Yu? Ai Lin disdainfully snorted through her nose. You don't know either. After saying that, she turned and left the place. Seeing her walk away, Zhao Mai immediately leaned close to Shen Yuran's ear and whispered, "Hey Emph, trying to go fawn over Huang Yu again?" Of course, now that Huang Yu isn't here, she must have gone to find Luo Bai. A somewhat plump female nearby directly rolled her eyes at Ai Lin's retreating figure. She already has 20 partners. Still not satisfied, Shen Yuran heard these words, but they went in one ear and out the other. What Luo Bai? She doesn't know them, doesn't know anything. It has nothing to do with her. Besides, she just got here. She doesn't know much about the people and things here. She won't comment further. However, right at that moment, a male walked past them. That look startled Shen Yuran with a jolt. Scared, she quickly stood up. If the situation seemed wrong, she would run. Changjia stared hatefully and fixedly at Shen Yuran. This ruthless female, whenever he saw her, he was reminded of losing one of his eyes. Although the clan leader forbade him from causing trouble, as long as she was in the Sunset Tribe for a day, he would eventually find a way to deal with her. Shen Yuran stared fearfully at his back till he entered the cave. Only then did she let out a sigh of relief. She said goodbye to Zhao Mai and the others, and hurried back to her own cave. She felt it was better for her to go out less if nothing was wrong. That look from Changjia just now. She was certain this guy was looking for trouble with her. She didn't want to cause trouble. Zhao Mai and the others naturally saw it too. Changia's fierce glare. Even if Shen Yuran still wanted to play, they would have urged her to go back quickly. In this kind of situation, it's better to have her own mate by her side, to avoid being bullied and regretting it too late. However, when Shen Yuran returned to the cave, looking at the things inside, she felt uncomfortable all over, feeling that something was off. There were lion fleas and the like. So she walked to the stone bed, took off all the fur blankets, and also wrapped a large pile of plant ash from the fire pit, carried them and went to the riverside. First soaked them with the plant ash, then little by little, rubbed them clean by hand, directly hung them to dry on the branches by the river. There were branches specifically for drying everywhere here. All the beastmen in the entire tribe dried things here. Not afraid of theft, either. Even after washing, the male scent would still linger on them. Just one sniff, and you'd know whose it was. The riverside was covered with broom seedlings. Although not yet yellow, they were considered old enough. Broke off some forcefully, removed the green leaves on them, returned to the cave, carefully tied them up with leather strips. Although somewhat crude, it was still not bad. Better than having nothing. Sprinkled some water to avoid dust flying all over the cave when sweeping. "Who are you?" Just as she was diligently cleaning, suddenly a sharp female voice came from the cave entrance. Looking up, she saw a familiar figure. Wasn't this the female who came asking about Huang Yu in the morning? She didn't know her. It was normal for her not to know herself either. Shen Yuran immediately introduced herself with a smile. "I am Shen Yuran. And you are?" However, this smile directly stung Ai Lin's eyes. This was Huang Yu's cave. She was a female of unknown origin. She must be here to seduce someone. Otherwise, why would she be cleaning here? Thinking of this, she let out a disdainful snort. She strode inside, but deliberately bumped into Shen Yuran's shoulder. "You're only fit for sweeping the floor. How dare you try to seduce males here? It's disgusting. Get lost now." Shen Yuran thought this person was rather inexplicable. "I am. How did you get here?" She was just about to explain when Huang Yu returned. He smiled slightly and greeted the female beside her. Seeing him return, Ai Lin immediately stepped forward with a smile and said, "Huang Yu, look, I came specifically to clean for you. How is it? Is it clean enough?" Hearing this name, Shen Yuran was quite surprised. She looked up at the male standing at the cave entrance. His jet black long hair fell smoothly down his back. A black animal hide skirt covered his private parts. A pair of long, slender legs that at a glance seemed full of strength. So this is Huang Yu. Remembering that she had already eaten 2 meals at his place and stayed for a night, yet she didn't even know his name. It really felt a bit too much. But this female in front of her seemed to be here to pick a fight. She had thought that females in this beast world would all be more or less like Zhao Mai, but it seems she was overthinking it. Yes, she just said she cleaned the cave. Still have to wipe all the utensils with animal hide. As soon as Huang Yu returned, he saw the broom in Shen Yuran's hand. How could he not understand that all this was done by her? But he didn't expect this girl to also be someone who doesn't take losses lying down, not exposing Ai Lin. Instead, he went along with her words. Suddenly put on the spot, Ai Lin heard Shen Yuran's words and couldn't very well refute them. Could only force a smile. He. Yes. Saying this, she walked to the side, picked up a clean animal hide and started wiping the dust. Shen Yuran unceremoniously walked over next to her, pointing at the dust in the corner, telling her to wipe it clean bit by bit, making Ai Lin grind her teeth in anger. She, the esteemed daughter of the tribe's witch doctor, the future witch doctor to be. This outsider female in front of her actually dared to order her to work. Simply detestable. Shen Yuran pointed at the corner behind the stone table. That won't do. You have to kneel down to wipe it, to reach it. Kneel. Ai Lin, hearing this word, was on the verge of exploding. That's right, you have to kneel. Only then can your hand reach inside. Shen Yuran blinked her big eyes, looking very innocent. Ai Lin could no longer bear it. This little bitch of a female. Can't she see that she's already reluctantly doing the work, yet she's still chattering non-stop in front of her, bossing her around. Now, it's even more hateful. Actually wanting her to kneel, the witch knelt down. How utterly outrageous. She flung the rag away violently. Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you order me to work? You're just an unwanted wild female. Now, you even dare to stand in Huang Yu's cave. Simply shameless. Outside, it was now afternoon. Many hunting males had returned. It was very lively outside. Even though Huang Yu's cave was somewhat remote, they still heard Ai Lin's lion-like roar. They all ran over to see what was happening. They were really curious. Who could be so bold? How dare they compete with Ai Lin for a male? Although Huang Yu wasn't very powerful in the Sunset tribe, and was usually very aloof, not interacting with other males, but the problem was, he was good-looking. He was deeply liked by Ai Lin. It's just that Huang Yu had always been indifferent to her. To be more accurate, He was indifferent to all the females in the tribe. And now, hearing Ai Lin's words, it seemed there was another female in Huang Yu's cave. This was truly earth-shattering news. Chapter 7. Just you wait. In no time, the cave entrance was crowded with onlookers. I am his mate, Shen Yuran said, without a trace of timidity, standing before Ai Lin. As soon as these words were spoken, Huang Yu's gaze toward Shen Yuran instantly became extremely tender. So he had already accepted her. Walking behind her, his gaze lightly fell upon Ai Lin's face. That's right, Shen Yuran is my partner. These words were undoubtedly a bombshell, startling everyone present, especially Ai Lin. She looked incredulously at the male she had pursued for so long, yet never obtained. How could he have a partner overnight? Then her actions just now. Wouldn't that make her seem like a clown? She roared in anger. No, you're lying. You haven't worshipped the beast god. How can you be partners? Mentioning this, he immediately straightened his back. Yes, that's right. You weren't even here yesterday. How is it possible to form a partnership? The people outside all nodded in agreement. Although, among beastmen, one can mate with whomever they wish. But the matter of partners, everyone takes very seriously. Only after worshipping the beast god and receiving the beast god's blessing can they be true partners. It's not as simple as just saying it. Huang Yu put down the prey in his hands, gently took the hand of Yuran beside him. His gaze soft as he looked at her. Long eyelashes. A slight smile. You are right. So we will worship the beast god tonight, hoping the beast god blesses us to never part for a lifetime. The sudden words of affection made Shen Yuran's heart tighten. She didn't understand this handsome male before her. When did I start liking myself so much? But the reality is, I must rely on him to survive in this beast world. Such a soft, gentle word. Yet it brought a surge of joy to Huang Yu's heart. He thought it would take Yuran a long time to agree to be with him. Never expected that with Ai Lin stirring things up like this. She agreed so quickly. The people outside the cave felt nothing seeing this scene. After all, Huang Yu's status in the tribe isn't high either. Pairing with an outsider female is just right. On the other hand, Ai Lin stomped her foot in fury. You actually tricked me? I'll tell my mother not to give you blessings. As soon as these words were spoken, the females outside the cave were the first to object. Especially Zhao Mai. She really likes Shen Yuran, this seemingly gentle yet strong-willed little female. What a high and mighty attitude. You say no blessings, so there are no blessings? That's right, you already have dozens of mates. Isn't that enough? Must you pester Huang Yu? Even the males nodded in agreement. Yes. Our Sunset tribe still has so many single males. How about you consider Ai Lin? One of us, a short, dark male, said sheepishly, scratching his head. Right. I've already held back for over half a year without touching a female. Screw you, you only held back half a year. I've been a whole year. Ai Lin, choose me. Ai Lin glared hatefully at these ugly males. Was she so desperate? Were these goods even worthy of comparing to Feng Yu? Lifting her head to meet Feng Yu's indifferent expression. Feng Yu, giving you one last chance. Choose her, or choose me. You better think clearly. If you choose her, you'll probably starve or freeze to death. Here in the Sunset tribe, these words were very fair. No one outside the cave refuted them. After all, Feng Yu's capabilities were plain for all to see. All the males in the tribe looked down on him, which led to them never taking him out hunting. And he could only go alone to catch some weak animals outside to support himself. Hearing this, Feng Yu frowned slightly in displeasure. He just didn't like crowds, that's all. He just didn't like being with beastmen he wasn't familiar with. How did that make him weak? A male who even struggled to support himself. His gaze fell on Ai Lin's haughty face. That's none of your concern. After all, haven't I managed just fine these past dozen or so years? Right, everyone suddenly realized. Yes. All the males in the entire Sunset tribe were self-sufficient. Before adulthood, parents managed their livelihood. After adulthood, it was self-reliance. The tribe never cared about their survival. They only provided for the underage females separately. However, Feng Yu's parents He fell ill and died as early as when he was 7 years old. From that time on, he began to become very withdrawn, never interacting with other beastmen, living alone in this cave to survive. So many years have passed. It seems he not only didn't starve to death, but instead is living quite well. At least the black beast fur on him looks glossy and sleek at first glance. The quality is very good. Shen Yuran felt the warmth of the large hand enveloping hers. This black-haired male in front of her stood right before her, speaking gently and politely, but also refusing very firmly. At this moment, she thought that forming a family with this male in front of her seemed quite nice. After all, even if she hadn't crossed over, she might not necessarily find such a good partner. Extending her other hand, slowly grasping his large hand. I will work hard to support myself, and not cause you trouble. I, Shen Yuran, will not become your burden. Suddenly hearing these words, Huang Yu felt a warmth in his heart. No beastman had ever considered her feelings before, whether it was her deceased mother, or the females of the tribe. Her mother only cared about whether her beastskin skirt was beautiful, and whether her male satisfied her desires. As for the females of the tribe, they only liked her beautiful appearance, and wanted to spend a night of pleasure with her. But this little female in front of her clearly had only known her for a few days. But afraid of becoming my own burden. This small chapter is not yet finished. Please click the next page to continue reading the exciting content that follows. The reason became my own companion. Still thinking about supporting myself. The corner of the mouth lifted slightly, reached out and stroked her smooth, long hair. How could I let you support yourself if you're with me? I have everything. What's mine is yours. What's yours is still yours. Shen Yuran felt her heart was about to melt. This male before her eyes. He's so good at this. Every move and gesture is full of gentleness and elegance. Even the tone of his speech is soft, just like the clouds in the sky. Not just him. Even the females at the cave entrance outside also had faces full of enjoyment. Now, they finally understood why AI Lin likes Huang Yu so much. Even though he is really useless. But what cannot be denied is, she really is very beautiful, and speaks so softly. Just watching from the side was unbearable for them. Not to mention Mu Yuran who was in the midst of it. However, the sweeter it was here, the more bitter AI Lin beside them felt. She has liked Huang Yu for many years, yet no matter what she does, he just doesn't look her in the eye. And now, he's showing off affection right in front of her. Pointing with hatred, she roared at the two of them. Huang Yu, Shen Yuran, just you wait. After saying that, she turned and rushed out of the cave, running away. The people outside, seeing the excitement had died down, began to disperse one after another. Zhao Mai couldn't help but cover her mouth and giggle. In the entire tribe, except for AI Lin, everyone thought they were a perfect match. After all, one was the weakest among the males, and the other was an outsider female, just the right fit. Once the people left, only the two of them remained in the cave. The quietness made Shen Yuran feel somewhat uncomfortable. She quickly grabbed the animal hide nearby, turned around, lowered her head, and began wiping away the dust. Chapter 8, I am late. Huang Yu knew she was thin-skinned, so he didn't expose her shyness. He quietly walked to her side, and seeing her wipe the table, he helped by moving items. Their bodies were very close. Shen Yuran felt that if she took a deep breath, she could smell the fragrance on him, thinking of him being right beside her, his sturdy arm reaching over from time to time, and those fair, slender fingers. Her mind began to wander. There weren't many things in the entire cave. Many items had already been tiddied up by Huang Yu. Small items were all stored in animal hide bags. Soon, this side was wiped clean. She turned to wipe the other side. But unexpectedly, as soon as she straightened her back, she bumped right into Huang Yu's chest. Startled, he immediately took a step back. His firm, well-defined chest suddenly appeared before her eyes. Too shy to look around, she could only lower her head. I'm sorry. Huang Yu lowered his gaze, took in all his movements and expressions. Such an adorable female made him unable to put her down. If not for fear of scaring her, he really wanted right now to just press her into his embrace and give her a good, thorough squeeze. But such a cute her. He somewhat didn't want to let her off. Sorry for what? The low, hoarse voice made the atmosphere even more ambiguous. Shen Yuran nervously confessed, honestly. I bumped into you and hurt you just now. Hearing this, Hu Eng couldn't help but laugh. Am I really that weak? As he spoke, a delicate fragrance wafted over. It made her feel somewhat dazed for a moment. Unconsciously, she took a step closer to him, wanting to smell more of it. But unexpectedly, this action frightened Shen Yuran, who abruptly pushed him away. Seeing him almost stumble from her push, Shen Yuran then snapped back to reality. What had she just done? She had clearly just said she was willing to be his partner. Yet now, she acted like this. There was no way to explain it. She was so embarrassed she didn't know where to put her hands and feet. Suddenly remembering the animal hide still airing by the river, immediately, a light bulb went off in her head. I forgot to collect the hides. After saying that, she dashed out of the cave, leaving Hu Eng alone in the cave. Seeing her leave, when the entire cave held only him, Hu Eng then snapped back to reality. What had I just done? I actually scared the little female away. I wanted to chase after her immediately, but I stopped in my tracks. Maybe it's better to let her breathe some fresh air. If I follow her now, it will undoubtedly make her nervous. It's better to stay home and roast a pheasant for her. Today, I specifically hunted 2 large pheasants for her. Time passed minute by minute. Outside, the sun had completely set. Huang Yu had already cleaned the pheasants and placed them over the fire to roast. However, Shen Yuran still hadn't returned. Even if she was getting some air, she should be back by now. Could it be that she had secretly run away again? Thinking of this, Huang Yu abruptly stood up from the stone stool. He wanted to go out and look for her, but he stopped after just 2 steps. Could it be that everything she said earlier was just to deceive me? Suddenly, he felt every pore on his body, and every joint aching with a piercing pain. If she really left, then he would let her go. Huang Yu made up his mind. He walked out of the cave and headed straight for the river. Arriving at the riverbank, all he saw were his animal pelts drying all along the shore. But there was no sign of Yuran at all. He couldn't help but mock himself. Maybe it really is for the best that she left. If she's gone, then she's gone. Huang Yu, not the kind of male who can't handle letting go. Walking up to the animal pelts, he raised his hand to gather them and take them back. Suddenly, a strange shoe appeared before his eyes. With just one glance, he recognized it as Yuran's. Last night, he had secretly looked at the soles of Yuran's feet. Unlike other beastmen, the soles of her feet were as soft as her hands. Without these shoes, she simply couldn't run. And only one was here. He understood in an instant. Shen Yuran hadn't run away. She was in danger. Panicked and tense, he turned to look at the gray, hazy surroundings. The river flowed, murmuring. A breeze stirred. Grass blades swayed gently. It was quiet all around. But there was no sign of Yuran. Don't move. If you attract Huang Yu over, I won't mind killing him too. Shen Yuran was utterly terrified. A dull pain came from her back. She didn't need to look to know. It was Chanjia pressing his knee against her back. Her eyes were fixed tightly ahead on Huang Yu, anxious by the riverbank below the hillside. She desperately wanted to call for help, but her mouth was stuffed with a foul-smelling animal hide. It prevented her from making any loud sound. She could only struggle and writhe on the ground with all her might. Turning her head, she glared hatefully at this detestable one-eyed man. Tears welled up in Chanjia's eyes. If she had known this beast would seek revenge, she should have killed him back then. Chanjia yanked open the animal hide skirt she used to cover her shame. A small, pitch-black thing was instantly exposed. It was also mixed with the disgusting, foul stench. Instantly, it made him nauseous and sick to his stomach. Chanjia grabbed her long hair, forcing her to face him. You look down on me, don't you? Today I'm definitely going to have my way with you. As he spoke, he directly reached out to tear the shirt on Shen Yuran's body. With a ripping sound, the buttons all burst open. Frightened, she let out muffled whimpers. What's this? Chanjia looked curiously at the white undergarment inside the shirt. Before he could even reach out to tear it, the next moment, a huge green peacock descended from the sky. Its claw pierced straight through his chest. He instantly fell to the ground. The green peacock transformed into human form as soon as it landed. Turning around, it crouched beside Shen Yuran and yanked the animal skin from her mouth. Seeing her covered in wounds and tied up on the ground, it felt immense heartache. This chapter is not finished yet. Please click on the next page to continue reading the exciting content that follows. Holding her tightly in his arms. I came too late. Freed from her restraints, Shen Yuran quickly wrapped her clothes tightly around herself. Terrified, she curled up in Huanju's arms, weeping bitterly. If he hadn't arrived in time, she probably would have already been raped by Changjia. Just thinking back to the scene moments ago filled her with fear. Feeling the sense of safety beside her, she pressed herself tightly against Huanju, reaching out to wrap her arms around his neck, hoping to feel even safer. Thank you for saving me. The corner of Phoenix Feather's eye fell upon the ugly long tooth beside him. His gaze turned cold as it shifted, using his body to block her line of sight. The swelling and redness on her ankle had only just subsided quite a bit. Now, it was covered in scrapes again. Not only that, there were also 5 bright red finger marks on her face. One look, and it was clear they were from that wild boar long tooth. If he hadn't just caught a whiff of long tooth's foul stench in the air, he might not have been able to find them so quickly. Yet he never expected that, as a male, Long Tooth would dare to lay hands on a female like this. It was utterly detestable. Killing him with a single move just now was really letting him off the easy. Raised a hand to brush off the withered leaves stuck to him. Softly said, "It's okay. It's fine now, let's go home." Saying this, she picked him up with both hands and headed toward the tribe. Passing by the river, Shen Yuran asked him to put her down. "I want to take a bath." The dark, newly grown teeth had touched her. Just thinking about it made her nauseous. And that scene of him flashing his bird was really off-putting. Huang Yu gently placed her by the riverside. "Call me if you need anything. I'll go put away the animal hides." Shen Yuran looked around. There happened to be a thick patch of tall reeds nearby. She hopped and skipped to the river's edge. Couldn't see Huang Yu's figure at all. No one else was around either. Only then did she feel at ease. Took off the soiled and tattered white chemise dress she was wearing. Kicked off the already stinky sneakers. Slowly tested the water with her chin. As soon as it touched the cold water, she couldn't help but shiver. Having grown up this big, this was her first time taking a cold bath. For a moment, it felt quite uncomfortable. She tried slowly wetting her body with the water first. Only then did she gradually squat down. Luckily, the cold feeling passed quickly. No shower gel. Not even soap. Not even plant ash was available now. All the plant ash from the cave had been used up by her for washing. The animal hides could only be rinsed with clean water. The only comforting thought was that the water here was unpolluted, very clean and clear. Took the opportunity to wash my hair. Also washed my own skirt. Although it's torn, it's still better to keep it. What if it comes in handy someday? Just as she was seriously washing the skirt, suddenly, something soft fell on her shoulder. Chapter 9, Call My Name. Shen Yuran instinctively reached out to touch it. With just one touch, she felt that soft sensation, screamed in fear, stood up and ran towards the shore. Huang Yu, who was guarding nearby, heard the rustling sound of Shen Yuran bathing in his ears. His mind was wandering, imagining the scene. The next moment, he heard her scream. Immediately turned around. But unexpectedly, as soon as he turned, he saw her holding a piece of white animal skin. Covering her chest, she quickly ran over. Her lustrous skin, her exquisite, well-proportioned figure, slender legs. Running on the grass, her face showed a terrified and fearful expression. With just one glance, the desire to protect arose. Till Shen Yuran ran fearfully to his side. Only then did he snap back to reality. Nervously asked, "What happened?" "There's a bug." Shen Yuran fearfully pointed at the river. "I was just washing clothes when I felt something fall. Upon touching it, I realized it was a bug. So disgusting. I feel like my hand isn't my own anymore." Huang Yu noticed that once she got frightened, she became much more talkative. "I guess she's really scared." Walking to the reeds by the river, going to check from the side. Just as she walked over, at a glance, she saw the green bug that had already been flattened by him, fallen on the river surface. Shen Yuran followed over and also discovered the already dead bug. Although dead, just one look at it made her feel scared. Disgusting. She's not afraid of snakes, not afraid of cats, just afraid of dogs and bugs. Especially soft, squishy bugs. Really disgusting. Stop looking. It's so gross. Huang Yu was amused by her action of rubbing against him. It was the first time he had seen a female so afraid of bugs. Such a small bug. Some females in the tribe even catch them to eat. But she's so scared. He wanted to reach out, to comfort her, but found she wasn't wearing a stitch of clothing. Couldn't even find a place to touch. Lowering his eyes, he said, with a smile, maybe you should put on some animal hide first. At this moment, Shen Yuran then realized she was completely naked. Scared, she immediately squatted on the ground, using her wet slip dress to cover her body. You turn around. Huang Yu now understood. This female is a bit timid and very shy. He turned around. Don't wear the wet animal hide skirt. I'll give you animal hide to wrap yourself first. I'll make clothes for you when we go back. Saying this, he handed her a piece of earth yellow animal hide. Shen Yuran carefully took it. She really didn't want to get sick. She had already broken precedent by taking a cold bath tonight. If she wore wet clothes again, she would definitely get sick. In a world like this, getting sick was undoubtedly seeking death. She really didn't want to die. Thank you for him taking the animal skin and wrapping it around herself. She tightly grasped the seam with both hands to prevent it from falling off. Huang Yu took the wet clothes from her hand, carrying a large pile of cleaned animal skins on one shoulder. The two of them headed back, one after the other. However, before they reached the tribe, they suddenly heard from the nearby woods the sound of rapid breathing. Shen Yuran curiously turned her head to look and saw 3 black animal shadows surrounding a female on the ground, happily playing. After just one glance, she turned her head away. Damn curiosity. She clearly knew what was happening, but still couldn't resist taking a look, only to find it a bit eye-burning. She secretly raised her head, wanting to see what expression Huang Yu had ahead, but all she saw was his tall back, and not his face. Returning to the cave, Huang Yu spread the animal skins on top, then went to the wooden box nearby, pulled out a large piece of thin cloth, and spread it on top. Now, I wouldn't be hot at night. Shen Yuran stood dazedly to the side. The light in the cave was very dim, so she couldn't clearly see what he was holding in his hand. Hearing his words, I curiously walked over. As soon as I touched it, I immediately exclaimed in surprise. This is something you don't know. Huang Yu turned her head curiously to look at her. This was something I spent 100 seashells on to buy at Yunmeng's. At the time, I just thought it looked rare and nice. After bringing it back, it had been pressed at the bottom of a chest and never used. I only tore off a corner to use as a handkerchief. It just happened to be given to Yuran to use. Last night, he had noticed. Yuran is very afraid of heat. She was sweating all night. Shen Yuran leaned in to examine it carefully. It's the same material as the hemp cord from the cloth shoes with layered soles that Grandma used to make for me. It's the same kind of thing. This is made from bamboo hemp. It feels very cool to wear in the summer. Hearing her answer like this, Huang Yu didn't find anything strange. The white dress Shen Yuran wore felt much softer to the touch than this linen. It was clearly something better than linen. The corner of his mouth lifted. Then I'll make you a set of clothes at home tomorrow. Shen Yuran, still immersed in the shock of the linen, was suddenly puzzled by these words. She looked up and met his gentle gaze. Her heart was full of doubt. He could kill Chang Ya with one move, which meant his strength was formidable. Moreover, he was so good-looking, and his temper was so gentle. He felt like a perfect man. Such a man. She didn't think she had much charm to attract him into love at first sight. But such a male. The feelings in her heart told her. She was truly moved. Her hand unconsciously gripped the animal hide. She voiced the question in her heart. Why did you choose me? Huang Yu took in all her little movements. Her beautiful, crescent moon-like eyebrows were furrowed together. He couldn't help but reach out to smooth them for her. Because you are the first person who respected me. Shen Yuran listened, somewhat confused. She blinked her eyes, her face full of bewilderment. Huang Yu smiled slightly. He knew she hadn't understood his words. You are the first person who said thank you to me. Not only that. In fact, she was also the first female who made him feel an impulse. This is the reason she liked him. But he knew he couldn't say this. As soon as it was spoken, the little female before him would likely become shy and embarrassed again. Oh, Shen Yuran heard this explanation. She didn't know what to say. After all, she didn't understand Huang Yu's past. Her slightly pouted lips made Huang Yu's mouth go a bit dry. There were only the two of them in the entire cave. The night outside was very quiet. As long as the two in the cave didn't speak, they could hear each other's breathing. The dim environment made him bold. He raised his hand to caress her slender shoulder, lowered his head, and gently placed a kiss. Yuran, I am Huang Yu. Say my name. The bewitching voice made Shen Yuran's already slightly moved heart instantly succumb. She raised her eyes to meet his narrow, phoenix-like eyes. Huang Yu's soft voice was like a small stone falling into Huang Yu's heart, instantly stirring up 1,000 waves. He had originally only wanted to hear the sound of the female saying his name. However, it would have been better not to listen. Upon hearing it, he felt his legs take an uncontrollable step forward. He suddenly lowered his head and kissed her deeply. At this moment, Shen Yuran only felt her whole body go weak and limp. Her hands, which had originally been tightly clutching the animal hide, had also loosened at some unknown time. The moonlight outside was very bright, shining into the cave. It only stole a glance, before shyly immediately running into the clouds. Only the shy red glow remains in the sky, until the sun in the east reveals the fish belly white. Then it disappears without a trace. Chapter 10. They have come knocking. As soon as Huang Yu woke up, he couldn't help but reach over and pull close Yuran's slender waist, a very satisfied smile rising at the corner of his mouth, his whole face buried in her beautiful hair. It wasn't until last night that he understood why Yuran had reacted that way upon seeing mating, and upon seeing Chang Ya's body. Turns out she had never been in contact with a male before. Thinking of this, his heart grew even more tender and protective toward the little female in his arms. Not only is she beautiful and lovely, with a stubborn, strong-willed temper, but she also especially values her purity and self-respect. It's terrible, Chang Ya is dead. Suddenly, noisy sounds came from outside the cave. Shen Yuran suddenly heard Chang Ya's name, immediately jolting awake from the bed, sitting up and fearfully gripping Huang Yu's hand tightly. What do we do? They know. Huang Yu slowly got up. Don't worry, I'm here for this matter. The moment he killed Chang Ya, he never considered hiding it. After all, this Sunset tribe isn't large. Only about 100 people in total. Suddenly, one person missing would definitely be noticed. He is not the kind of beastman who dares to act, but not take responsibility. You stay inside. Don't come out. I'll handle it. After saying this, he strode out of the cave. Shen Yuran was very worried. This matter, to put it bluntly, was caused by oneself. It has something to do with him. She couldn't bear to let Huang Yu stand alone at the front, taking on the problem. She quickly grabbed the already tattered slip dress beside her, put it on, and casually took an animal tendon to tie up the torn parts. As long as she wasn't exposed, it was fine. Barefoot, she ran out of the cave, heading straight for where the most people were gathered. Before she even saw Huang Yu, she heard the accusatory voices inside. Chief, this is clearly from Sharp Bird Claws. In our entire tribe, only Huang Yu is a bird beastman. He must be the killer. Chang Sheng pointed angrily at Huang Yu's face, accusing him to the chief. This didn't need him to say. All the males could tell these were bird claw marks. But some were puzzled. How could Huang Yu possibly kill Chang Ya? Yeah, he's so weak that they usually couldn't be bothered to take him hunting. The chief stroked his chin, thinking very seriously about the problem. If this really was Huang Yu's doing, then Huang Yu's strength could be said to rival that of his own son, Luo Bai. So, for the sake of an already dead Chang Ya, to offend a male with such combat power was clearly not worthwhile. It wouldn't be good for the entire tribe. If he didn't have such combat power, he absolutely couldn't have killed Chang Ya. So, from any perspective, Putting Huang Yu on trial now was not a good approach. But this matter can't just be let go. After all, this tusked brother, Chang Sheng, is AI Lin's partner. And someone in the tribe died. He must give an explanation. Might as well pin it on those sky pirates outside. Just as he opened his mouth to speak about this matter, he was interrupted by Huang Yu, stepping forward, facing Chang Sheng without a trace of fear. I killed him. What are you going to do about it? As soon as these words were spoken, they thoroughly enraged Chang Sheng. He clenched his fists tightly, eyes blazing with fire. Why did you kill him? Huang Yu let out a disdainful, light laugh. I didn't like the look of him. These words actually resonated with many beastmen around. Not only was Changjia ugly, he was also particularly unclean, often relying on having a bit of strength. He liked to bully weaker males in the tribe, and to grope females. If not for the fact that his brother was AI Lin's partner, he would have been beaten to a pulp long ago. It's just as well that someone like him is dead. Especially knowing he actually forced females to mate. If it were them, they'd want to beat someone up too. You're just great, aren't you? Chang Sheng pointed at his nose, so angry he didn't know what to say anymore. This was his own younger brother who grew up with him. Usually giving him face by not bullying him. Was only out of respect for AI Lin that he bullied him. So that AI Lin wouldn't find out. Punish him by not allowing him on the bed. But now, he only wants to avenge his brother. Huang Yu, I challenge you. If you lose, get out of the Sunset Tribe. Huang Yu agreed without a second thought. Things that can be solved with fists. He doesn't want to explain too much. Shen Yuran finally squeezed through the crowd and heard these words. Frightened, she immediately stepped forward and tightly hugged Huang Yu's arm. No, she didn't want Huang Yu to get hurt. She had heard from Zhao Mai about this Changya. He was considered a very capable male in the tribe. The tribal chief, watching from the side, saw that the missing female had returned and was very close to Huang Yu. There was nothing left to misunderstand. It seemed Chang Yu really might have been killed by him. Fine, this was a chance to take the witch down a peg. So it was settled. If Huang Yu loses, he leaves the tribe. If he wins, Chang Sheng, you cannot trouble him. And you must apologize. Hearing the first part, it really sounded like he was on Chang Sheng's side. But upon hearing the last sentence, everyone finally understood. This was clearly favoring Huang Yu. However, Shen Yuran shook her head in fear. She didn't want Huang Yu to get hurt for her sake and be driven out. Chang Ya, she was just about to explain what happened. But the next moment, her mouth was tightly covered by Huang Yu. Softly in her ear whispered, that matter is a secret between us. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Seeing his confident smile, Shen Yuran felt somewhat reassured. However, the next moment she regretted it. Little master, there's more to this chapter later. Please click the next page to continue reading. It gets even more exciting later. The Changsheng before her eyes turned out to be a golden lion, beastman. She had thought he was a wild boar beastman like Changjia. Changsheng lifted his head and roared toward the sky, Huang Yu. Today is the day you get driven out of the Sunset Tribe. After delivering his harsh words, he immediately leaped toward Huang Yu with a bound. Shen Yuran watched this scene nervously. Her heart almost jumped out of her chest, as the sharp claws were right in front of Huang Yu. The next moment, a multicolored light flashed. The person who had just been standing on the ground had now transformed into his beast form and was flying in the air. Everyone's eyes were dazzled for a moment. When they opened their eyes again, they saw a beautiful green peacock, spreading its gorgeous, colorful wings and circling in the air. Its long tail trailed behind, as if it were a divine bird. Oh my! Huang Yu's beast form is so beautiful. Indeed, we've been in the same tribe for so many years, and never knew his beast form was this good looking. Some exclaimed in amazement. Some spoke with envy. What's the use of being good looking? If he can't defeat Changsheng, he'll be driven out. Right, good looks can't be eaten as a meal. Even AI Lin, who had always admired Huang Yu, was deeply captivated at this moment. Such a handsome male, yet he doesn't fancy me. Insisting on getting involved with a wild female. Thinking of this, he felt a breath stuck in his chest, unable to come out. stepped forward and shouted at "Beat him, win. I will be yours alone tonight." As these words were spoken, Chang Shem was overjoyed from the bottom of his heart. He thought Ai Lin would blame him. She even approves of me beating Huang Yu. Then I must properly teach him a lesson. Tonight, he won't have to eat the leftovers that other males have eaten anymore. Chapter 11. So he is this good. Chang Sheng opened his big mouth and pounced to bite at Huang Yu in the air. However, seeing this, Huang Yu, with a pair of huge, sharp claws, swiftly, accurately, and fiercely clawed towards his face. Just one strike, instantly bloodied and dripping. The pain made Chang Sheng cry out in agony, a sharp cry. Yet Chang Sheng grew even more furious. This face is his weapon. If it gets disfigured, his life would be over. This damn Huang Yu is clearly doing it on purpose, specifically attacking my face. Have the guts to come down. What's the point of flying in the sky? A powerful male. Huang Yu gently landed on the treetop nearby. Come down, so what? Lost is lost. These words directly stepped on the waste pipe on the bed. By now he had already forgotten that he came to seek justice for his brother, Changjia. You're talking nonsense. If you have the guts, come down. Lullaby, watching from the side, couldn't stand it anymore. To be honest, in terms of friendship, of course, it's Chang Sheng, this male who often hunts, who has a better relationship with himself. But even so, now, he felt it was too embarrassing to watch. It's obvious at a glance that it's Huanju who's impressive. What difference does it make whether he comes down or not? Besides, Huanju is a peacock beastman. Being able to fly is also part of standing. Everyone's eyes held looks of amazement. Only the clan leader wore an expression of disbelief. That claw strike from Huanju just now suddenly pulled his memory back 18 years. To that snow-covered winter. He was just out on patrol as usual. But unexpectedly, outside the tribe, discovered a phoenix fighting a flood dragon. In the end, both fell. In the nearby snowfield, he picked up a fist-sized blue egg, originally thinking of taking it home to cook and eat. He didn't expect the clan leader at the time to discover it was a beastman egg. So it was handed over to a beastman in the tribe to incubate. Everyone thought it might be a flood dragon egg or a phoenix egg. However, what hatched was a grayish, dingy, ugly little thing. As time passed, almost everyone had nearly forgotten its existence. Yet unexpectedly, years have passed. Only now has the clan leader discovered that Huang Yu has actually grown to resemble somewhat the phoenix from back then. Similarly, many of his feathers are very beautiful. But at a glance, the colors clearly aren't from the same species. Although no matter how you look, the colors don't seem alike. Even so, the clan leader now knows Huang Yu is absolutely not ordinary. An ordinary beastman couldn't give birth to such a good-looking beastman. Thinking of this, his eyes shifted, and he immediately had an idea in mind. He spoke with a smile. Alright, let's stop here. Huang Yu wins. Chang Sheng apologized to him. Shen Yuran stood to the side. Hearing this result, she could finally be completely at ease. She had always known Huang Yu was good-looking, but never expected his true form to be even more handsome. Last night, due to being too flustered, she hadn't really noticed. However, Chang Sheng, hearing this unilaterally declared result, was very angry in his heart. I won't apologize. Clearly, he was the one who killed my brother. Why should I apologize? Huang Yu knew these beastmen were all spineless. Clearly, he was the one who proposed the fight and lost, yet didn't want to admit it. Him making such a fuss is nothing more than just wanting some compensation. Who doesn't know that although he and Chang Ya are blood brothers and have a good relationship, he is even more greedy for petty advantages. Speak, what do you want? Chang Sheng snorted coldly and transformed into human form. 3 bloody scars abruptly appeared on his face. I don't care for your things, but Long Tooth is my brother. I can't let him die for nothing. I want 50 cowrie shells, 10 high-quality furs. As soon as these words were spoken, the other ORCs nearby all gasped in shock. Damn, this guy is really asking for the moon and the stars. You should know, many families here can't even come up with 10 cowrie shells, let alone 50 cowrie shells plus 10 furs on top. To be honest, at this moment, many people suddenly felt long tooth simply wasn't worth that much. Fine, 50 cowrie shells I'll give you. But as for the 10 furs, no, I'll give you 5 more cowrie shells instead of the 10 furs. Furs are never given to others. Except for himself and Yuran. No one else can use them. Those are premium furs he specifically saved. Good. Chang Sheng heard there was such a good deal and immediately agreed, afraid he might change his mind. You should know. Although 1 cowrie shell can also buy 2 good furs, but furs are, after all, just objects. How can they compare to the value of cowrie shells? With cowrie shells, you can go to Yunming's and exchange for anything. Huang Yu retracted his beast form. With a light turn, he landed beside Shen Yuran. Yuran, go back and help me fetch the cowrie shells from the wooden chest. Shen Yuran wished that this matter could be resolved with money. She hurriedly ran back, dove into the cave, and immediately began rummaging through the wooden boxes. There were 7 or 8 boxes in total. She searched through them one by one. Finally, at the very bottom of one of the wooden boxes, she found a small, delicate wooden box. She took it out and opened it. Inside were all small, cute little seashells. She carefully counted out 55 of them, put them in a leather pouch, ran out and handed it to Huang Yu. As soon as Chang Sheng heard the clattering sound inside, he wanted to step forward and take it. But Huang Yu sidestepped him, turned and handed it to the clan chief beside him. Clan chief, please count the number. The clan chief was very satisfied with this feeling of being respected. He nodded with great satisfaction and took it. In front of everyone, he counted them one by one. 55 pieces in total. Not one more, not one less. Chang Sheng received the seashells, and the matter was considered settled. Chang Sheng looked at the white seashells with a beaming smile. It was what the clan chief had said. It was Zhao Mai, who in the crowd, took in everything with her eyes. She felt very envious in her heart, couldn't help but sigh in admiration. So Huang Yu was this formidable in dealing with him. The slightly plump female who was on good terms with him. Kai Xia also couldn't help but nod. Yes, and so wealthy too. However, all of this stung Ai Lin's eyes. Her silver teeth were almost ground to pieces. These should have been hers. And now, all of this is actually occupied by an outsider, a wild female. No matter how you think about it, it feels unfair. Chapter 12, The Unpalatable Sea Buckthorn Fruit. Even the clan leader's son, Lullaby, was somewhat shocked. This usually silent and unassuming male was actually so formidable. Not only that, he also seemed to have a very considerate and beautiful female. Clan leader and Yuran wish to become mates. We wish to receive blessings from you, the shamaness and the beast god. The clan leader threw his head back and laughed, losing a slovenly, average Changjia, and gaining a handsome, powerful Huanju. He was very pleased. If he didn't have a mate, he himself would probably have to be on edge. After all, it's quite possible that one day, he might be lured away by females from other tribes outside. But if he has a mate now, then his first choice would be the Sunset tribe. Good. Tonight, when the moon god rises from the horizon, we shall bestow our blessings upon you too. Huanju immediately lowered his head slightly to express his thanks. Thank you, clan leader. Shen Yuran didn't expect him to bring this up at this moment. For a moment, she didn't react until he gave his thanks. Then she quickly trotted over, lowered her head, and expressed her gratitude. Thank you, clan leader. Receiving thanks from a male felt normal to the clan leader. But suddenly, having a female come to thank him, this actually made him slightly dazed. He hadn't adjusted yet. This was the first time he had encountered such a thing. Being thanked by a noble female. A soft, gentle voice, fair skin, a good figure, a kind heart as well. The more he looked, the more satisfied he felt. Subconsciously, he stroked his chin and began sizing her up and down. Such a fine female. If only she were his daughter-in-law. His single tiger son had long reached the age to start a family, but his standards were too high. All these years, he hadn't found a suitable one. If this dragged on any longer, it might just happen that he would really have to form a family with AI Lin. However, regarding AI Lin's status in this matter, he wasn't optimistic. If the two of them became a family, then the position of chieftain of this Sunset tribe, wouldn't it just fall onto AI Lin's head? In a tribe, the most taboo thing is for the witch and the chieftain to be the same person. Moreover, he didn't think a female as foolish as AI Lin could handle the position of chieftain. Thinking of this, the corner of his eye caught sight of Luo Bai beside him. He saw that he was also looking at Yuran, expressionless. Unclear what he was thinking, Huang Yu was very happy. He was finally going to truly become partners with Yuran. He tightly grasped Shen Yuran's hand, very excited. You wait for me in the tribe. I'm going to hunt a deer. Zhao Mai couldn't help but feel envious, walking to her side. You're so lucky, Yuran, suddenly teased Shen Yuran. Felt a bit embarrassed. Smiling, she said, how am I luckier than you? Several partners are finding food for you. Luo Bai stepped forward. I'll go with you. Let's have a good, lively time tonight. The other males stepped forward one after another. They were originally going out to hunt. They were just delayed by the news of Chanjia's death. Shen Yuran held Huang Yu's hand, meeting his gentle gaze, as if the person who was just fighting wasn't him at all. Be careful. I'll be waiting for you at home. Zhao Mai couldn't hold back any longer. Let's go outside to pick some fruit to eat. Hearing they were going out, Kai Xia also got excited. Let's go catch soft worms to eat. Great. Several close female friends chimed in agreement. Regarding Shen Yuran and AI Lin, they preferred to befriend Shen Yuran. After all, she wasn't stuck up. Her voice was soft when she spoke, and she looked fair and tender, just like a newborn cub. With just one glance, it made people want to protect her. Everyone agreed, and ran home to get their woven bamboo baskets. Shen Yuran also rushed back to the cave, just thinking about being able to go gathering with them. She was overjoyed. He is also human, also a social animal, likes to interact with people. However, he searched around the cave and didn't see any back baskets. Wanted to put on his shoes, but discovered his own shoes were already so smelly they couldn't be smellier. Disgustedly threw them aside, fished out a soft, hairless animal skin from nearby, cut off 2 pieces with a bone knife from the side, directly and roughly used the knife to poke 4 holes on the side, then tied them to his feet with animal sinew. He tried them on. It was like custom made, very fitting, just the edges were very rough, but still better than not wearing any. Yuran walked off. Zhao Mai and Kai Xia stood at the cave entrance and shouted. Shen Yuran immediately responded, coming. Wait for me right away. Zhao Mai stood outside waiting for a while, but didn't see anyone come out. Curiously walked in to see what was going on. Just as she entered the cave, she ran into Shen Yuran coming out with an animal skin bag slung over her. Puzzled, she asked, what are you doing? Shen Yuran lifted her foot, made a simple pair of shoes to spare the feet. Zhao Mai followed her words and looked down. A pair of pure white, slender feet appeared before her eyes, simply completely different from their own black, thick, and large ones. Very surprised, she said, how come your feet are so pretty? Not just her. The other females also gathered around, one after another. Some even directly squatted down and reached out to touch her feet. Shen Yuran felt a bit unaccustomed, but she knew they meant no harm. They were just curious. She did not shrink back. Instead, she lifted her foot to show them. Wrapping the sole like this, walking won't hurt from the stones. Zhao Mai and Kai Xia and the others didn't really care about the pain issue. After all, the soles of their feet had long been calloused. Not to mention stones. Even if they stepped on some thorns, it wouldn't hurt. They had been looking for so long, just wondering if their own feet could become this pretty too. Little Master, there's more to this chapter later. Click the next page to continue reading. It gets even more exciting later. Wearing this, can our feet also become this white? Right. The one at my home often says the soles of my feet are a bit hard. Every time it scrapes him raw. Shen Yuran only noticed now. Their soles were really primitive. Forget about the blackness. After all, they barefoot under the sun every day. But the keratin layer was truly thick, and their long toenails were exposed. Just one glance was uncomfortable. My feet are this color because they haven't been exposed to much sun. But wearing shoes can make the soles of our feet softer. Zhao Mai and Kai Xia, along with a few others, hearing this conclusion, were already quite satisfied. We'll go back and make a pair to wear tonight too. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone agreed in unison. They also wanted to try what it feels like to step on beast leather shoes. A few people walked out of that tribe, chatting and laughing, heading straight to the hillside by the river. A large cluster of bright red little berries suddenly appeared before their eyes. Zhao Mai put down her basket. Take it easy, these have thorns. Be careful. Don't prick your hands. Enron gazed at this vast expanse of familiar plants, feeling a bit frustrated. Isn't this just sea buckthorn? Back in his hometown, it's called water fork. It's good stuff for feeding pigs. Back when the family was poor, the pigs didn't have much to eat. His grandfather wouldn't sleep at noon, just carrying a piece of cloth and a basket on his back. He'd go gather water, fork to dry, and feed the pigs. Once the pigs ate it, their fat just kept piling on, visibly rising. Never thought that now, he himself would have to pick loads of this stuff. At first, he was just herding cattle up the mountain, occasionally picking one or two to taste, and astringent. Only a little bit of sweetness. It really wasn't tasty. Chapter 13, Not Wanting Trouble. Zhao Mai and Kai Xia quickly started picking beside him, not moving, probably a bit scared. After all, this thing hurts when it pricks your flesh. He's so delicate. It's normal to be scared, Zhao Mai said with a laugh. If you're afraid of getting pricked, just wait a bit. We'll pick some for you after we're done. Shen Yuran quickly shook her head in refusal. She wasn't afraid of getting pricked. She was simply not interested. No need for you to pick like this. It's a bit slow. How about I pull the branch down and hit it with a stick? You just catch them with the baskets. Hearing there was this method, Zhao Mai instantly had a sparkle in her eyes. Hey, this really is a good method. Kai Xia picked up a wooden stick from the side and hit the branch Shen Yuran was holding down. With just a light tap, those ripe sea buckthorn berries all fell clattering into the basket. She laughed excitedly. Never thought there was such a method. So useful. My hands won't have to fear thorns anymore. Seeing a branch cleared so quickly, Zhao Mai was also very happy. Exactly. Every time I come to pick this stuff, not only do I not pick much, and often these sharp thorns would prick painfully. Other females followed suit, one after another. Everyone automatically divided into groups of 3. Soon, this large patch of sea buckthorn berries was cleaned up completely by them. Zhao Mai looked at her own basket with great satisfaction. It was actually nearly half full. She had never once come out to gather sea buckthorn berries and gotten this many. Smiling smugly, this time, when I go back, Black Hair is sure to praise me. Yes, you're the most capable. Kai Xia teased from the side. She grabbed a handful from each person's basket and put it into Shen Yuran's animal skin pouch. This is your share. Shen Yuran saw that she had actually given her so much and immediately poured out half. I alone can't eat this much. This little bit is enough. To be honest, if not for considering that Huang Yu might like it, she wouldn't have wanted any at all. When she eats this thing, it's very uncomfortable. It always gets stuck in her throat, neither going up nor down. It's very unpleasant. All nuts are incompatible with her. Seeing her pour out most of it, her originally small animal skin bag instantly deflated quite a bit. Zhao Mai, however, wouldn't have it. That won't do. There's still one more person in your household. How can this little bit be enough for the 2 of you to eat? Yes, the other females nearby also chimed in agreement. If not for her good method, today they might not even know when they'll finish picking. It might not end until. I'm afraid they won't be able to pick this much even by dark. Take these sea buckthorn berries back to make a mess. Put them in a stone pot and boil them. They'll be so fragrant, it's hard to refuse such hospitality. Shen Yuran couldn't decline and could only accept them. Everyone was pretty much returning fully loaded. When they got back to the tribe, it was still early in the day. The people here only eat 1 meal a day, and that's the one in the evening. Usually, if anyone gets hungry, they can go out separately to find something to eat. No one says anything about it. Shen Yuran put down the animal skin bag and was immediately pulled by Zhao Mai and the others to go into the tribe. They insisted on him teaching them how to make shoes. The shoes aren't difficult. You can learn just by looking once. What's hard for them is how to choose the animal skin. You should know, this is the most important material for getting through winter. Without animal skins, they could very likely freeze to death. Zhao Mai brought out 2 pieces of animal skin, looked at a black piece of animal skin in her hand, and also a gray piece of animal skin. These 2 pieces were already the worst animal skins she could find, but even so, she still felt somewhat reluctant to part with them. But as soon as she saw Shen Yuran's fair and delicate feet, she felt extremely envious and was completely unable to make a decision. Yuran, help me take a look. Which one of these is suitable? Shen Yuran took the animal skins and felt the gray one. Upon first touch, it feels harder than the black one. Decisively, let's use the gray one. It's harder. It should be more secure when worn on the feet. Kai Xia, who was still choosing nearby, heard this. Immediately had an idea. Directly chose the thickest, the roughest one. Zhao Mai directly stepped her foot onto the animal hide, used a stone to roughly outline the edges, then had Yuran help hold it taut, used a knife to cut it out bit by bit, then was about to use animal sinew to bind it. Then Yuran saw there were still quite a few leftover scraps nearby. Immediately stopped her. Don't use animal sinew. Not only is it unattractive, it's also not very comfortable to wear. Saying this, she picked up the thin strip scraps nearby. Using this will look better. Cut 3 long strips of animal hide. Expose the furry side. Thread them through the holes in the sole. A simple pair of animal hide sandals was thus completed. Zhao Mai took it and looked it over and over. Directly tried it on her foot to test the sole. A wave of softness came through. She was quite surprised. Oh, my. Wearing this feels as comfortable as stepping on a bed. And I feel like it's even prettier than the one on Yuran's foot. Not just her. Kai Xia's was also ready. She had chosen a black animal hide, worn on her feet. The black fur actually gleamed with a shine. It was also very beautiful. Then Yuran said with a smile, yours are definitely better looking than mine. I only used animal sinew because I was in a hurry. But if you wear them for a few days and find these animal skin bags stifling, you can also choose to use animal sinew. The few of them were playing happily under the tree. Each had a pair of animal skin shoes, as if stepping on clouds. However, a female stood by the cave entrance nearby, glaring hatefully at this place. The witch sat in the cave sorting her herbs, knowing her daughter's worries. But then again, this Huang Yu really has no taste, preferring a wild female of unknown origin over being her daughter's mate. But seeing how quickly she got along with the other females in the tribe, she must be no simple person. Her own simple-minded daughter probably can't compete with her at all. Come in and help me with the herbs. I don't want to. Ai Lin directly rolled her eyes at her own mother, turned and rushed out of the cave, heading straight for Shen Yuran and the others. Arrogantly, she pointed at them and launched into a tirade. You are simply too much. Making animal skins here. Don't you know these are necessities for winter? This one sentence directly offended all the females making shoes present. Every one of them understands their own family situation better than this Ai Lin before them. Need him to command boss around. Everyone kept their heads down and ignored him. Shen Yuran also played along, pretending to be a quail. This female had always held hostility toward her. Now, she was storming over so angrily. If she opened her mouth, nothing good would come of it. Chapter 14, Forming a Bond. Ai Lin saw that none of these people were paying her any attention. It felt like she had thrown a punch into cotton. All her anger had nowhere to go. She directly fixed her gaze on Shen Yuran. She saw that on her body, she was still wearing a tattered white dress. Seeing this, her anger lessened quite a bit. She snorted disdainfully. So much for how much Huang Yu liked you. He mated with you. Yet he wasn't even willing to make you a beast-hide skirt. If I were you, I might as well jump into the river and drown. Shen Yuran, who was trying hard to lower her presence, was still caught by her. This outfit of mine is indeed a bit tattered. But Huang Yu already said last night That if she fancied any piece of linen, she could just take it to make clothes. It's just that from morning until now, he had forgotten about it, and didn't expect AI Lin to seize it as a handle. Lifting her head, her gaze calmly met AI Lin's provocative look. Whether he makes me a fur skirt or not is none of your business. Could it be that you like it? What Huang Yu likes is merely the fur in her hands. With a very displeased sneer, I am not you. What I like is him as a person. Whether he gives me a fur skirt or not, I still like him. Suddenly, from behind her, familiar, warm, and gentle voice came. She knew who it was as soon as she heard it. A smile appeared on her face. Turning her head, she saw Huang Yu carrying a male Sika deer on his shoulder, and holding 2 plump, sturdy rabbits in his other hand. She happily jumped to his side. Huang, you're back. Seeing her approach, and about to reach out to pull him, Huang Yu immediately dodged to the side, and said with great affection, "Dirty. I have blood on me. Don't let it stain you. Let's go home. I'll make you clothes." As for what AI Lin just said, he heard every word without missing a single one. Letting Yuran still wear a set of tattered clothes was his own fault. Just as he was feeling remorseful, he heard Yuran's words. She actually said she liked him for who he was. At that moment, his entire heart melted. He couldn't help but call out to him, "I want the one made by your own hands." Then Yuran deliberately said this, just to annoy AI Lin. Huang Yu directly handed the prey to Luo Bai beside him, and went to the river to wash up. When he returned, he found an extra large pottery bowl of sea buckthorn berries on the table. He smiled slightly. "You like this fruit?" Suddenly being reminded of the sea buckthorn berries, she felt a bit helpless. "No, it's that Zhao Mai and the others insisted on stuffing them into my hands. I don't like these." Saying this, she looked at Huang Yu, revealing a sly smile. "How about you help me eat them? It would be a pity to throw them away." Huang Yu frowned. He didn't like this sour and astringent fruit either. But thinking that it was picked by Yuran, he still curiously picked one up and tossed it into his mouth. Tasting it, it was a bit sour, a bit astringent, and also a bit sweet. Anyway, the flavor wasn't that great. But he still couldn't help but eat 2 more. "If you don't like it, we can squeeze it into juice in the evening, to use for roasting meat." Shen Yuran, who was preparing the guzzing, suddenly heard this, and immediately nodded in agreement. "This thing is really unpleasant to eat as fruit. Maybe it would be good for grilling meat." The two of them rummaged through various kinds of animal hides in the cave. In the end, Shen Yuran chose a yellow and black striped tiger skin, and also a pink animal hide. Huang Yu held it in his hands and compared it against her body. With a swipe of his hands, shaped like claws, he split the hide apart. In the blink of an eye, a snug tiger skin bandeau top appeared before them, and a tiger skin bodycon skirt. Shen Yuran held them against herself and gestured a couple of times. She couldn't help but want to try them on. But she noticed Huang Yu was still sitting at the stone table. "If you're not leaving, why don't you go out and wait?" Hearing this, Huang Yu then understood. This little girl was still feeling shy, even though the two of them had already been completely intimate last night. But he obediently went out to keep watch for her anyway. Shen Yuran put on the brand new animal hide skirt. She felt uncomfortable everywhere. The hide was too thick, not breathable at all, and it was very stuffy and hot. Moreover, this animal hide skirt had a slit. It was only connected at the waist with animal sinew. Anywhere else, if she made a big movement, she would risk exposure. "Huang Yu, come help me look. Does it seem a bit inappropriate?" Huang Yu, standing at the cave entrance, turned around upon hearing her voice and came in. His gaze instantly fell on her. This outfit simply revealed her excellent figure without any concealment. Not a trace of excess fat on her waist. The tiger skin paired with her fair skin actually had a bit of wild beauty. Shen Yuran didn't speak when she saw him come in. Upon looking up, she saw his bright red nose. Full of worry, she stepped forward. "Why are you having a nosebleed?" Wanted to help wipe it for him, but found she had nothing in her hand. Quickly turned around to look for animal hide. Huang Yu, upon hearing this, raised his hand and touched his nose. It was covered in nosebleed underneath. immediately took out a linen handkerchief and wiped it clean. He had just taken a glance and got a nosebleed. If Yuran went out like this, probably all the other males would go crazy. Take it off. I'll make it longer for you. Then Yuran saw that he had found cloth to wipe his nosebleed himself. Quickly came over, took the handkerchief, and gently stopped the bleeding for him. Only after it stopped bleeding did she feel relieved and pull his hand. Let's go wash by the river. And use cold water to pat the neck to cool down. No, Huang Yu directly refused. With Yuran looking like this now, he wouldn't feel at ease letting her go out. I'll wash first with the water from the clay pot. After altering your clothes, then we'll go out. Saying so, he directly picked up the nearby linen cloth that was spread on the bed last night and cut out a linen skirt for her. But he only knew that one style could only make it longer. Shen Yuran put on the new clothes, couldn't help but exclaim how comfortable it was. So cool. And the hem length reached the knees. He added 2 straps on the side of the thigh for securing. No longer have to worry about exposure when sitting down. Huang Yu smiled slightly, very satisfied with the new clothes she made. If not afraid she might get hot. The slender waist and the cute belly button, she didn't want to expose them either. With a long arm, he pulled her along. Let's go wait by the river. I'll carry the clay pot and fetch some water while we're there. Turned around and picked up the clay pot. Just stepped out of the cave entrance. Huang Yu couldn't help but step forward, picked her up and placed her on his arm. I'll carry you. Shen Yuran felt a surge of joy in her heart. So this is what love feels like. She really liked it so much. The two leisurely went to the river to tidy up their appearance, only then slowly returned. By now, the sky was almost dark. The whole tribe was very lively. This was their first time holding 2 consecutive mating ceremonies. And tonight, there was also venison. That's highly nourishing, especially good for virility. Zhao Mai's partner, Black Fur, had a gleam in his eyes. That thing runs incredibly fast, very hard to catch. Never thought we'd get to taste it today. Venison mischievously turned his head and smiled at Zhao Mai, making Zhao Mai shyly lower her head. No choice, Black Fur was truly amazing. Every time he could make her unable to resist. Chapter 15, One more clan leader, very happily stood on the platform and glanced at his son. Luo Bai revealed a face full of smiles. At a glance, I locked onto the one being all lovey-dovey in the crowd. The 2 protagonists, Huang Yu and Shen Yuran. According to the old rules, a female must have 2 partners to form a family. Shen Yuran, come up and choose your partner. Shen Yuran walked onto the stage, wearing a light, thin linen dress. Her attire was different from everyone else's around her. Her subtly visible waistline made her even more beautiful. A crowd of males below the stage began to stir and cheer. Ai Lin immediately recognized the linen on her. This was an extremely expensive type of linen. Who would have thought Huang Yu would possess such a valuable thing? If it weren't for this wild female stepping in, all of this would have been hers. Tonight, all eyes would have been on her. Thinking of this, her heart almost soured with envy. The blade of grass in her hand had long been crumpled to a pulp. Shen Yuran stood on the earthen platform, looking at the dense, dark crowd below. Everyone was wearing smiles. She couldn't help but reveal a smile herself. I choose Huang Yu. The crowd erupted in a wave of teasing cheers. Huang Yu, face beaming with joy, walked to her side, reached out and took her hand. The clan leader walked over with a hearty laugh, reminded her that she still had to choose more. These sudden words left Shen Yuran somewhat shocked. Night? Wasn't this supposed to be her and Huang Yu's mating ceremony? Why did she still have to choose? Seeing her very surprised expression, Huang Yu then remembered this was the beastman's rule. Every female, upon reaching adulthood, must choose 3 or more mates. This was to balance the skewed male to female ratio, and even more, to protect the females. Before meeting Yuran, he had never imagined he would have a mate, even less imagined he would share a mate with other males. He had been too happy these past few days, and had forgotten all about this matter. But thinking of Yuran's safety, he still whispered softly in her ear, "Go ahead and choose." I accept. Shen Yuran, hearing this, looked at him in shock. But then she remembered what Zhao Mai had told her before. To survive here, You must rely on powerful male mates. If you have too few mates, you might not even know how you died someday. Huang Yu also has her own things to do. It's simply impossible for her to be inseparable from me all day long. If I want to be safe, I must choose again. Immediately, she cast her gaze into the crowd. Those males without partners all stepped forward. Choose me. One male excitedly jumped up and waved at her, while one hand was still picking his nose. Shen Yuran only glanced and then looked away. She didn't want a male like that. Seeing that she was about to choose, the clan leader randomly walked to the side and whispered to her, Yuran, look at that male over there in the white animal skin skirt. What do you think? Shen Yuran instinctively looked in the direction he indicated. With just one glance, she recognized the person. Isn't that the male who carried me back in his mouth back then? Luo Bai felt her gaze upon him. He immediately turned his head to look aside, not daring to meet her eyes. When he first saw her back then, he only saw a mess of dirt and filth, and that delicate yet stubborn temper of hers. He never expected her to look so beautiful after cleaning up. Just one glance from her made him feel somewhat shy, not knowing where to put his hands and feet. His father was also like this, not letting him inquire first about such matters, just abruptly stating others' thoughts like that. Shen Yuran couldn't make up her mind. She had seen this male before. What about his strength? Would he not get along with Feng Yu? She didn't know. She could only rest her gaze on Feng Yu. Without saying a word, Feng Yu understood her meaning. He nodded toward her. Luo Bai is a good person. Only then did Shen Yuran realize that this big tiger was called Luo Bai, the second Luo Bai. As soon as these words were spoken, Ai Lin was the first to jump out. No way, I don't agree. I can't take it anymore. She rushed onto the stage with her hands on her hips. Pointing at Shen Yuran's nose, she started cursing. You fucking bitch. You come to my sunset tribe and immediately start snatching people? Snatching Feng Yu is one thing, but now you're even snatching Luo Bai. Are you fucking love-starved? Grabbing any male you see? Why don't you just take all the males? Forget it, let me tell you. Luo Bai is mine. This declaration made everyone look toward Luo Bai. Even the tribal chief was puzzled. When did his son get involved with Ai Lin? How did he not know? If that were really the case, then perhaps the candidate for chief would need to be reconsidered. Luo Bai, upon hearing Shen Yuran say she chose him, was so overjoyed in that moment he was speechless. Before he could open his mouth to agree, he saw Ai Lin jump out, and she said something particularly nasty. Frowning slightly, hands clasped behind the back, turning slightly sideways. When was I ever yours? I didn't even know that myself. Ai Lin didn't expect him to step forward and speak up for Shen Yuran, shouting angrily, I am the future witch. You are the future clan chief. Only I am a match for you. What the hell is she, huh? Hearing such vulgar words, the clan chief directly cut her off coldly. With your level of quality, I, the future clan chief of the Sunset Tribe, wouldn't dare take you. Her mother was rejected by Luo Bai, and now the clan chief treats Ai Lin like this too. Feeling like she has lost all face, she stomps angrily over to her own mother. Mother, they're all bullying me. They're all bullying me. This chapter is not finished yet. Please click the next page to continue reading the exciting content that follows. You must not give them blessings. Huang Yu and Luo Bai are mine. Are mine. The witch feels somewhat awkward. This is her precious darling. She gave birth to 6 children in her lifetime, but only she grew up safely. The others died young long ago. She doesn't want her to suffer any grievance, but, in front of the entire tribe, if she dares to agree to Ai Lin's words, then her credibility as a witch would be gone. Reaching out to pat her on the back as a gesture of comfort, stop crying. You already have 20 partners. There will be better ones in the future. Don't. Ai Lin directly whines. Do not let the witch bestow blessings. What the clan leader hates the most is Ai Lin's pampered and spoiled appearance. She wants the best of everything, yet is unwilling to offer the position of first beast husband to his son. You must know, that is the clan leader's son. How could he be a junior husband to someone else? Although being with Shen Yuran also means being a junior husband. That is different. This one looks gentle at first glance. Even if nominally a junior husband, probably after being together, this tribe would still be under his son's control. Besides, there's also such a strong fighter like Huang Yu. Being with him, he feels much more at ease. Impatiently waving his hand, Lei Yi Changsheng, hurry up and take your mates back. If you miss the good opportunity later, none of you will have it easy. The two of them originally didn't want AI Lin to find another mate, but pressured by their female's authority, they didn't dare to step forward and interfere. Now that the clan leader has spoken, they won't hold back. They immediately stepped forward, coaxing and pulling, taking them back to the cave. Chapter 16. The bugs are so scary. At this moment, Luo Bai stood beside Shen Yuran, his ears turning red. I am willing to become your mate. The clan leader laughed heartily, beaming with joy. Good. Let us bless them. May they have offspring soon. And be strong and healthy. The males below were somewhat puzzled. Didn't they say at least 3? Why are there only 2 now? The ceremony has already begun. Not just them. Even Huang Yu was puzzled. But with Luo Bai, he felt it was enough for now. To be honest, in the entire Sunset tribe, she only considered Luo Bai as a worthy male. The others were either unfaithful, or unattractive, or prone to stealing and mischief, or already taken as someone else's beast husband. Anyway, she didn't like them. Only Luo Bai. He knew what his father was thinking. If it weren't for the rules, his father would have preferred his partner to be the only one. The male witch diligently blessed them. A faint moonlight shone down. The 3 instantly felt a wave of warmth enveloping them. Huang Yu and Luo Bai both turned their heads to look at Shen Yuran in the middle. On the position of his left atrium, there was now a beautiful, miniature green peacock, vivid and lifelike. And on his right arm, there was also a golden, domineering little tiger. Shen Yuran noticed their gaze. Only then did he realize the new additions on his body. He rubbed them hard with his hand, but they wouldn't come off. He had noticed long ago that Zhao Mai and Kai Xia and AI Lin all had some animal patterns on them. But he had always thought they were just tattoos. Never imagined this was how they came about. So there really is a beast god here. Seeing her staring blankly at the marks on her body, the two of them tacitly took her hand. Huang Yu walked. I'll take you to eat something. Suddenly hearing about food, Shen Yuran then realized she was truly very hungry. It's just that there were too many things happening day after day, making her forget her hunger. Shen Yuran followed along, but with someone suddenly by her side, she felt somewhat uncomfortable. Huang Yu walked to the side of the fire, selected a large piece of tender deer meat from the belly area, came over and handed the roasted meat to Shen Yuran, sat to the side and simply ate some. To be honest, the roasted meat tonight tasted quite ordinary. And with Luo Bai present, she found it hard to savor the food. Luo Bai felt somewhat embarrassed. Last night, his father had just found him and brought up this matter. Although he also thought Shen Yuran was quite good, and had some fondness for her in his heart, suddenly becoming companions, more or less. He needed time to adapt to this new identity. He also sat to the side, took a piece of his favorite tendon to eat, but the corner of his eye occasionally fell on Yuran's face. After the meal, Huang Yu thoughtfully took Shen Yuran to the river to wash up. At this moment, it was very quiet here. He looked at the two of them. How about tonight, Luo Bai? You come to our cave. Shen Yuran, who was already somewhat awkward, suddenly heard these words. My mind buzzed for a moment. Completely blank. How can 3 people live like this? Suddenly, she remembered the noises she had heard before. Could it be tonight? Thinking of this, she swallowed nervously, feeling a bit scared. But this person was her own choice. Now, they were already partners. It wouldn't be good to refuse. But aside from what Huang Yu said, he had no better solution. Luo Bai nodded in agreement. Although he had his own cave, and was the clan leader's son, now, Huang Yu was Yuran's first beast husband. In matters like this, he had to listen to him. I'll go back now and move my things over, wood. Yuran was in a daze, not even knowing how she returned to the cave. It was still lively outside, but she felt her limbs stiffen, standing to the side. Watching the two of them remaking the bed, her mind was a complete mess. Huang Yu patted the bedding. Yuran, come quickly and try if it's comfortable. That faint smile made Shen Yuran feel like he was a mischievous spirit, trying to seduce her. Remembering last night's pain, she instantly felt resistant. I haven't washed up yet. I'm too dirty. I'll go take a bath and come back. After saying that, she lowered her head and rushed out of the cave, leaving Luo Bai feeling disappointed. Does she not like me? Huang Yu chuckled softly. He originally grew up in the tribe. He had long accepted Luo Bai as his own brother. He was just a bit embarrassed. After all, before yesterday, she had never mated with any other male. As soon as these words were spoken, Luo Bai turned his head and looked at Huanju incredulously. What did he mean by saying that? Was he showing off how important a female's first time is? Was he showing off that Yuran's first time was given to him? Thinking of this, a sense of competition immediately rose in his heart. I want to be the first tonight. Huanju picked up the clean animal skin skirt beside him. Without answering his question at all, he went straight out. Such matters. Only Yuran has the right to decide who is the first. What others say doesn't count. Luo Bai, seeing the thing in his hand now, finally understood that he was lagging behind. He hurriedly followed out. Shen Yuran stood by the river, wanting to take a bath, but realized she had come out in too much of a hurry and hadn't brought any change of clothes at all. She wanted to go back and get some, but saw Huanju coming over with clothes. Huanju chuckled softly. Handed her the animal skin skirt in his hand. Why run so fast? You even forgot to take your clothes. Shen Yuran looked behind her and saw no one else. Then she embarrassedly stuck out her tongue. Just a bit unaccustomed, that's all. It'll be fine in a few days. Huang Yu gently reached out and stroked her hair. It's perfectly normal. Luo Bai is also a part of our family. It will be better after tonight. Little Master, there's more to this chapter later. Please click the next page to continue reading. It gets even more exciting later. Hearing this, Shen Yuran's gaze fell on the large tiger on her arm. The pattern is very majestic. But within the majesty, there's also a bit of silly cuteness. She nodded, Huang Yu brought clothes over. Luo Bai naturally wouldn't come empty-handed. He grabbed a large handful of soap pods and handed them to Yuran. Using this to wash will be very clean. Shen Yuran turned her head, looking at the soap pods in his hand, longer than her own palm. She was quite surprised. Where did the soap pods come from? Hearing her somewhat astonished voice, Luo Bai unconsciously revealed a smile. I just went to pick them from the other side of the hill. They're very good for bathing. Shen Yuran reached out and took the soap pods from his hand, accidentally touching his somewhat hard palm. A warm current transmitted over, making her heartbeat accelerate. This male before her eyes, golden long hair, black pupils, high, straight nose bridge, resolute face, was indeed two completely different types from Huang Yu. She glanced at that clump of reeds, originally intending to walk over, but suddenly remembered the unpleasant memory from last night. Feeling very apprehensive in her heart. But the surroundings were very open, except for that place. There is no other place that can provide cover. Turning his head to look at the two people standing aside, he could only speak up and say that. Can we go over there? Lubai didn't understand why. In his view, washing anywhere is the same. But since his partner said so, then naturally he should comply. Fortunately, Huanjun knew the reason. That insect squashed by Yuran last night. Really scared him badly. It took a long time for him to calm down. I know a place with very clear water. There are no insects there. Where Shen Yuran heard this, instantly became excited. Now it's dark, although there is moonlight. But who knows what might emerge from this water? Chapter 17. I'm here looking at the scenery. The two followed Huanju round a big bend nearby. The river here is simply much cleaner than the previous spot. So clear you can see the stones at the bottom at a glance. Shen Yuran was very satisfied with this water quality. Putting down the animal skin skirt in his hand. You go wash over there. I'll wash here. The water here is very shallow. Even when he went in, it only reached his knees. Having run around all day, he had long been sweating a lot. Getting into the water all at once felt instantly much more comfortable, wetting his whole body, picking up the soapberries nearby and rubbing them into lather, only then applying it to his body. Yesterday was just a bath with plain water. A lot of grime wasn't washed off properly. Tonight, he needs to wash thoroughly. The sound of splashing water made the two people behind him feel somewhat restless. Their hearts felt as if scratched by a cat. After all, that was their partner. Yet they actually couldn't look. Just thinking about it made them uncomfortable. Luo Bai and Huang Yu stood in the water, exchanging a knowing glance. They slightly turned their heads to look at the scenery behind them. The hazy moonlight shone upon the earth, illuminating Shen Yuren's fair body with a layer of halo. With just one glance, Luo Bai's mind went blank. His brain was completely empty. Hey, you better not look. Suddenly, he heard Huang Yu's voice beside him. Following his gaze, he looked down. Instantly, his face flushed red. Stubbornly stiffening his neck, he said, "Aren't you the same?" The two silently turned around and squatted in the water, each washing themselves, neither paying attention to the other. This situation was a bit awkward. Shen Yuran washed until his hands were almost numb. Finally, he managed to take a clean bath. Very satisfied, he used his dirty clothes to wipe the water off his body, picked up the clean animal skin and put it on. Seeing those two still soaking motionless in the water, "Are you two done yet?" The two had long known he was finished and had come up. But in their current state, they simply couldn't come out. Instead, Luo Bai secretly gave a sly smile. "We're done washing too. Just that the animal skin skirt is a bit far and can't be reached. How about you bring it over here?" As soon as these words were spoken, Huang Yu immediately sensed that this tiger was up to something. But given the current situation, what he wants to stir up, she could guess with her toes. Based on last night's situation, just thinking about it makes his whole body feel hot. Not to mention there are two tonight. He doesn't want any other messy thoughts. The male, hearing the leisurely and delicate voice, immediately chimed in as well. Be careful where you step when you come over. Shen Yuran's lips curled up. Didn't expect these two to be oddly concerned about privacy issues. Picked up the animal skin skirt beside him and got into the water. Carefully walked over. The water level here was quite a bit higher than where Yuran had been. It was already up to his thighs. If it were any higher, the animal skin skirt on his body would get wet. Luo Bai reached out to take the animal skin skirt. Yuran had just wanted to pull his hand away and leave, but unexpectedly was directly grabbed by him, with a forceful pull on the wrist. The whole person fell against his chest. A warm sensation came through. Shen Yuran, with a face full of shyness, wanted to break free. The next moment, Huang Yu lowered his head and sealed his lips. A tingling sensation instantly swept through his entire body. Shen Yuran felt as if all the strength had been drained from his body. His legs went a bit weak. He didn't want to fall into the water. He could only reach out and grab onto Huang Yu's neck for support. Seeing that Huang Yu had already taken the lead in action, Luo Bai was not willing to be outdone and followed suit. Turning slightly, he stood behind him. At this moment, Shen Yuran only felt the world spinning. His mind went completely blank. The only thing worth celebrating is this place was desolate and uninhabited. As if in all the world, there were only the few of them. No one else would see him in this state. He could freely do whatever he wanted. However, these were merely his own one-sided thoughts. In the distant mountain forest, a pure, black, golden-eyed panther stood on a tree branch. Watching the commotion here without blinking. Its long tongue licked its own nose. It snorted disdainfully. So these two were his mates. They really are quite ordinary. No wonder they lost him, and almost got him killed by hunting dogs. Such a beautiful female. These two males really aren't worthy. Although he looked down on such males, he wasn't about to rush out now to disturb their good time. Then, with a turn of its head, it leaped down from the tree in one bound and turned to go deep into the forest. For the first time ever, Luo Bai and Huang Yu slept in until the sun shone into the cave. The three of them slowly woke up. Shen Yuran opened his eyes and saw that the rift between the two from yesterday seemed to have vanished without a trace. The clan leader stood at the entrance of his own cave. From time to time, he glanced in the direction of Huanju's cave. His eyes were filled with smiles. Soon, a figure immediately appeared before him. He recognized at a glance that it was his own son. Immediately waved to him. Luobai, Luobai. Seeing it was his father, walked over. I'll take people hunting right now. Wait a moment. Let me ask. Did you two mate last night? Speaking of this, a happy smile appeared on Lu Bai's face. The clan leader had been through it himself. One look at this expression and he knew. That was satisfaction beyond satisfaction. Chuckling, he patted his shoulder. That's good. Your father's judgment is never wrong. Back in the day, I was a handsome male in the tribe too. But since you're together now, you should have offspring as soon as possible. Hearing this, Lu Bai frowned. He had just started living a good life. He didn't want a little offspring coming so early to disrupt his happy life. Little master, there's more to this chapter later. Please click the next page to continue reading. It gets even more exciting later. Don't think he didn't know. In the tribe, whenever a female becomes pregnant, the female's attention is on the offspring. Where would they pay attention to the males? He didn't want such a thing to happen early. His position in Yuran's eyes wasn't stable yet. Need to take it slow, I understand. After saying this, he turned and led the people out to hunt. Yuran now has two companions by her side. There was no need for Huang Yu to follow along to hunt. However, Huang Yu still went alone into the forest. He needed to hunt more meat and animal pelts to trade for seashells. To buy more linen cloth for you, Ran. The set of animal skin clothing was simply too revealing. He wasn't at ease. Shen Yuran also felt somewhat embarrassed. In her entire life, except perhaps for the split pants she wore as a child, she had never worn such an exposing skirt in her life. It really only reached the top of her thighs. With any big movement, she risked exposure. But aside from yesterday's linen clothes, which were somewhat fitting, there was nothing else at home. Forget it. It'll be fine once the linen clothes dry. At worst, she just wouldn't go out today. The imagination was beautiful. However, reality was harsh. She had eaten a bit too much last night. Early in the morning, she felt a bit bloated in her stomach. A strong sensation surged over her. She stood up and paced back and forth in the cave. She couldn't hold it much longer. But with this outfit, she felt a bit insecure. But she couldn't just relieve herself at home either. That would be worse than killing herself. Shen Yuran took a deep breath. Determined to follow local customs. Everyone dresses like this. It's nothing. She looked outside and saw no one. Only then did she stride out, heading straight for the woods not far ahead. This was the place where everyone usually took care of their needs. But she looked around. Either someone had already beaten her to it, or there was no cover. She could only go further in. It wasn't far, though, before she found an excellent spot. On the halfway up the hillside. Squatting here, she could see the movements around her. But others might not necessarily see her. Yuran, what are you doing here? Suddenly, a voice came from beside her, scaring her so much she almost held it back. Turning her head, she saw it was the familiar Xiao Mai. Only then did she relax. Smiling, she said, "I'm here enjoying the scenery. Resting for a while." "Oh, then come find my mom after you've rested." "We're just picking wild vegetables ahead." Okay, Shen Yuran quickly agreed. Right now, she just wanted to have a good bowel movement. This was her first time having a big one since she arrived here these past few days. It was a bit difficult. It would take a while. Grabbing a handful of broad tree leaves. Her legs were almost numb by the time she finished. Suddenly, the cry of an eagle came from the sky. Chapter 18. The Sky Pirates are here. He looked up curiously, scaring him so much his legs almost went weak. He saw 3 eagles circling in the sky. Their spread wings were super large. One dove down and directly grabbed a female and flew away. Ah, the pirates are here. Run, Zhao Mai screamed in terror. But she didn't expect to be directly grabbed by an eagle. In the blink of an eye, she was lifted high into the air. Shen Yuran watched the scene in fear, not daring to make a single sound, only hoping that the weeds around me could conceal my body. Yuran, save me. The eagle that was about to leave glanced down again, suddenly discovering there was still a female hiding in the grass. Immediately swooped down. Shen Yuran knew something was wrong upon hearing Zhao Mai's cry. Not caring whether her legs were numb or not, she turned and ran down the mountain. But unexpectedly, after just 2 steps, a cold sensation touched her waist. The next moment, she was in the air. At this point, she didn't even dare to struggle, afraid that the eagle above might have a cramp and drop her. Wouldn't that mean being killed by the fall? Looking at the tribe below, growing smaller and smaller, hidden among the mountains, she felt so insignificant. So insignificant that she had no ability to protect herself. Even going to the toilet could lead to danger. She thought this was the territory of the Sunset Tribe. It should be safe. Actually, it wasn't just her who thought this. Even the clan leader and others thought the same. Otherwise, they wouldn't have agreed to let these females go out to gather. For so many years, nothing had happened. Even if something did happen, as long as the females shouted, they could immediately provide support. After all, it wasn't far. Who would have thought it would be a group of aerial bandits? The clan leader anxiously paced back and forth. Weren't these aerial bandits over in the grasslands? How did they come here? Black Hair anxiously followed, getting worked up. Chief, now is not the time to talk about this. Saving people is urgent. He finally found a mate. Nothing must happen to her. Otherwise, his whole life would be ruined. Who would bear his cubs? Everyone knew this. They said the chief understood it even better than he did. But those are aerial bandits. The only one in the entire tribe who can fly is Huang Yu. But everyone knows, when it comes to flying speed, Huang Yu is no match for the eagles. Besides, Huang Yu isn't in the tribe right now. Where can we find him? The chief quickly ordered Luo Bai and the others to return. Black Hair, you take some people and give chase. Black Hair immediately turned and led 2 leopards skilled in sprinting. The beastmen following the scent in pursuit. They could only hope the eagles were flying slowly. However, at this moment, Shen Yuran felt her mouth was being blown crooked by the wind. The powerful airflow made it impossible to keep her eyes open. Fortunately, this didn't last too long. Soon, they landed on a bare mountaintop. Surrounded by sheer cliffs and precipices. The eagles' nests were right on these cliffs. Shen Yuran and Zhao Mai, along with another female, were all dumped together. The 3 of them were too scared to move a muscle. Right before them was a bottomless abyss. One careless slip would mean utter doom. They could only press themselves against the rock wall as much as possible, avoiding looking down. Zhao Mai couldn't help but start crying. I'm so scared. Another female next to Yuran also pressed close. I've never left the tribe since I was born. Will they eat us? Suddenly, both of them leaned over. She herself was right on the edge. If she wasn't careful, she would fall down. She squeezed a bit towards their side. I don't know either. In this place, even if we want to run, we can't escape. The 3 of them now can only place their hope on their own partners. At that moment, over a dozen eagles appeared, circling in front of them. One of the huge black eagles came towards them. It grabbed Shen Yuran and flew up. All Zhao Mai and Yuran could do was scream. Venting the fear in their hearts. But very soon, Shen Yuran discovered This eagle was only taking her to the other side of the mountain and directly threw her into the highest cave. Seeing such a large area, Shen Yuran felt somewhat safer in her heart. She quickly took 2 steps inside. This place was at least better than that sheer cliff just now. She wouldn't accidentally fall down. She had just taken 2 steps inside. The white-headed eagle that caught her landed inside. As soon as it entered, it transformed into human form. A head of white hair. A skirt made of black feathers around its waist. Its amber eyes fell on him, taking off. At this time, Shen Yuran was no longer the little white who had just arrived in the beast world. He knew the meaning of these words. But now, the enemy was strong and they were weak. If he directly defied and refused, he definitely wouldn't get a good outcome. He could only suppress the fear in his heart, forcing out a faint smile. It's not dark yet. Wouldn't this be a bit inappropriate? Hearing this, Yin Yao's eyes flickered. This female didn't seem as stupid as she looked. If she dared to cry and make a scene here, he wouldn't mind directly throwing her out of the cave. However, the excuse she found was somewhat clumsy. No other beastmen are coming. Hurry up and clean it. The last sentence contained his impatience. Startling Shen Yuran so much that her whole body trembled. She instinctively took a step back. The male before her was too terrifying. That aura of slaughter made her shiver. Especially those eyes. Chillingly. As if looking at someone a few more times would mean death. I'm a bit hungry. Can I eat something first? Yin Yao knew this was her delaying excuse. But this excuse was more pleasing to the ear than the previous one. Little Master, there's more to this chapter. Please click the next page to continue reading. It gets even more exciting later. Fine, he agreed to this excuse. After all, this was his first mating. It would take some time. The female needed to eat her fill. It would be such a letdown if we got hungry halfway through. Shen Yuran watched him transform into a white-headed eagle and fly out. The entire cave was now left with. She breathed a sigh of relief. But remembering he would be back later, she immediately ran to the cave entrance and looked down. With just one glance, she stepped back in fear. This was much higher than the previous place. There wasn't even a path down beside it. The entire stone wall was terrifyingly smooth. After all, those who came here were eagles that could fly. They didn't need to walk. The smooth stone wall could actually help avoid attacks from other beastmen. Unable to escape, Shen Yuran retreated back inside. She looked around. The cave was very large. In the corner was a large pile of dry grass, covered with black animal hides. Surprisingly, there were also 2 wooden chests beside it. A clean table, and a stool. It was extremely simple. She scanned the area, but couldn't even find a handy tool. Looking outside, she thought the eagle from earlier probably wouldn't return so soon. She quietly walked over to the wooden chests, lifted the heavy lids, and found them full of high-quality animal hides. She rummaged through, but there wasn't even a bone knife. She could only sadly close the lids. Standing in the cave, suddenly her gaze fell on the edge of the cave entrance, on a fist-sized stone. In the entire cave, it was the only thing that seemed somewhat useful. Quickly pick it up. Quietly hide it under the animal skin bed. If he dares to get rough with me, I wouldn't mind smashing his head with a stone. I've heard birds' heads are very fragile. Having something to rely on, I feel less scared inside. Even when Yin Yao brought back prey, he could still force out a smile. This prey is huge. Yin Yao's brow twitched slightly. How can this female still manage to smile? Just now, he passed by the cave of the female brought together with him. The screams were so loud. Chapter 19, Testing. Yin Yao indifferently tossed the prey directly at the cave entrance. Go eat it. Shen Yuran stood frozen in place, looking at the still fur-covered antelope at the cave entrance. An idea instantly formed in his mind. Standing there with a gentle expression, lifting his eyes to reveal a pitiful look. but I don't know how to skin it. Yin Yao's eyebrow raised slightly. He suddenly thought it might be better not to have a female. If it weren't for the rutting season being too hard to endure. He wouldn't want a creature like a female at all. Back in the north. Which female in the caves didn't skin their own prey? He opened his mouth to refuse. But his gaze fell on that aggrieved face. Fair-skinned face. A very well-fitting animal skin skirt. Although it was clear at a glance, he already had 2 mates. But such females ending up in the human traffickers' market also existed. Especially those legs. And the cute belly button. He only took one look and felt his hands and feet were out of control. He stood up from the stool, walked to the cave entrance, formed his hands into claws, and in a few quick strokes, peeled the antelope skin off. The pink flesh was thrown on the ground. That's enough. Shen Yuran licked his somewhat dry lips. Walked over to the antelope and looked at it. This eagle really lives a rough life. He frowned slightly, turned his head, clasped his fingers, and whispered, But, I can't eat it raw. As soon as these words were spoken, Yin Yao instantly flew into a rage. A pair of fierce eyes shot towards her. Are you looking for trouble? No. Shen Yuran immediately denied it. I've never eaten raw meat. It will give me diarrhea. If you want me to eat it raw, then I'll eat it. Saying this, he lowered his head, not looking at the male in front of him, and took small steps closer to the antelope meat on the ground. Before, all those actions were to test the limits of his anger. But now, she really didn't want to eat raw meat. She squatted on the ground, putting on a pitiful expression. Deliberately turning her body so he could see her face. At this moment, Yin Yao was indeed paying attention to this beautiful, magnetic figure in front of him. Every little movement exuded fragility and pitifulness. Especially after his own roar just now. Naked eye visible, she actually trembled with fear. Thinking of those females how were captured in the tribe before. Often eat raw meat. Many females get diarrhea as soon as they arrive. Not many days passed before he died. This led them to require a large number of females due to tribal needs. However, the number of females in the surrounding tribes was limited. Moreover, he detested this method of seizing by force. That is why he came to the south. If the female before him also died from diarrhea, then what difference would there be between himself and the males of the former Ying tribe? What would be the point of having separated himself? Suddenly, a glistening teardrop fell from his face onto the ground. With just one glance, Yin Yao softened. He strode to the cave entrance, grabbed the antelope, and was about to fly out. But unexpectedly, Shen Yuan grabbed his arm. "Where are you going?" The sudden touch made Yin Yao's heart tremble. A soft, gentle fragrance wafted straight to his nostrils. He hated it most when others touched him. But this little female before him actually didn't stir a single ounce of anger in him. "I'll go roast meat for you." As soon as these words were spoken, Yin Yao was taken aback. Since when had he become so agreeable? Before he could figure it out himself, the little female's rosy lips before him began to part and close again. "Take me with you, okay? I still need to go relieve myself." Hearing the words, "relieve myself," Yin Yao frowned, his expression instantly changing. "What does relieve myself mean? I think you're trying to run." "No, no, no, no. I really just need to pee urgently." Shen Yuan clamped her legs tightly together, pretending she couldn't hold it any longer. Now, Yin Yao understood. Did she need to urinate? He turned, one foot gripping the antelope, the other foot seizing her waist, spread his enormous black and white wings, and leaped down. Passing through the clouds, he saw the river and forest below. He set her down by the riverbank, giving her a warning glance. "Don't even think about running." Shen Yuan smiled slightly. "How could I? There are so many wild beasts out there." She walked to the grassy patch nearby, pretending to squat and relieve herself. In reality, she hurriedly untied the animal tendon at the edge of her skirt and tightly bound it to a nearby thorny branch. She wasn't foolish enough to simply run into the forest. Leaving aside whether she could even escape. Even if she could run, she didn't want to feed the beasts. In the past, she didn't know, so it was fine. The incident with the hunting dog Black Panther last time left her with lingering fear. Her scent wasn't strong enough. She deliberately smeared some of her own saliva on that animal tendon. She hoped heaven wouldn't rain. After doing all this, only then did she come out with a smile on her face. Pretending nothing was wrong, she squatted beside him, watching him roast meat. She couldn't understand why this male in front of her, who was quite good-looking and also very strong, had to go and snatch females. With his looks, forget snatching. Just walking through a group of females. Would have females throwing themselves at him. But she didn't understand the psychology of a robber. It was very possible he was psychologically twisted, who could say. His fixed stare made Yin Yao very uncomfortable. But this little female in front of him was too timid. She would tremble in fear if he just raised his voice a little. He could only pretend not to know. But the corner of his eye remained locked on her. Suddenly, he noticed this little female's skirt seemed to have changed. He handed her the roasted meat, urging her to eat quickly. Shen Yuran took the roasted meat. It only had a faint saltiness. But the advantage was the meat was very fresh. So there was no unpleasant fishy smell. Just now, this eagle beastman in front of her had also washed off the blood. At this moment, the sun was setting in the west. The entire expanse was bathed in red twilight. She was truly hungry. Last time we ate two is still last night. One bite down. Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, very refreshing. A whole antelope. He only ate a fist-sized piece of roasted meat and couldn't eat anymore. Yin Yao looked at how much was still left. Directly vanished it into her own belly and went back. Shen Yuran sat on the stone. Hearing this, immediately looked up and said with a smile, "Good. I'll go wash up now. And go back right away." After saying this, regardless of whether he agreed or not, she walked directly to the riverside, washed her hands and face, brushed her teeth with the twig, even washed her feet thoroughly. Until the sky turned completely dark. She was still there, slowly fumbling around. Yin Yao stood behind her, arms crossed. The corners of his mouth lifted in a not quite smile. This little female really has quite a few tricks up her sleeve. To actually play this game with him. He rubbed a section between his fingers. A tendon just taken from a gold bar. Such a strong female scent. It was obvious he had left it there on purpose. And tied it so securely. Now, she's deliberately dawdling here. Her feet are almost washed red. Are you done washing? Almost, although Shen Yuran was washing her feet. Her gaze was looking around. She had been lingering here for a long time. But why hadn't Huang Yu and the others come to rescue her yet? The sky grew darker and darker. Her heart grew more and more uncertain. Chapter 20, They Are Uglier Than Me. Yin Yao knew what she was thinking. But he didn't have much patience to wait. He directly grabbed her and took her back to the cave. In the blink of an eye, she was back inside the cave again. Shen Yuran felt like crying, but had no tears. The next moment, the male before her walked directly towards her. Pushed her down onto the fur bed beside them. Fear completely filled Shen Yuran's heart. She tightly clutched the animal hide covering her body. Shouting in terror, "I have a mate." You can't do this to me. Yin Yao gave a scornful laugh. So what if you have a mate? Don't you females have many male mates? Besides, the fact that they could lose you means they aren't qualified to be your mates. He reached out and tightly pinched her chin. You go buy it back for me now. Then it's mine. Before Shen Yuran could react, a soft pair of lips came down. Very aggressively began to invade and plunder her. Only when she felt the pain on her lips did she finally snap awake. Her frightened hands fumbled all over the animal hide. Soon, she felt a rock. Grabbed it and smashed it toward the back of his head. Yin Yao, in pain, released her. Stood up. Looked down at her, who was in a very sorry state. You actually dared to hit me just now. But she had used all her strength. Yet, the male before her showed no injury at all. Not even a drop of blood was shed. She quickly sat up, roared in great fury. Bullshit! We were clearly kidnapped by you. I want to go home. As soon as these words were spoken, Yin Yao's eyes turned cold. Looked down at her. What did you say? You just said you were kidnapped? Yin Yao angrily turned his face aside. This damn male. What he himself did. Pretending not to know. That's right, we were just gathering outside. And were kidnapped here by you. What are you pretending not to know? Hearing this, Yin Yao slightly bent over, picked up the animal hide skirt he had just taken off the bed, and put it on. Without saying a word, he left the cave. Headed straight for the two caves below. You three, come out. A cold and stern voice made the three males who were enjoying themselves immediately tense up. They walked out of the cave with faces full of ingratiation. What's wrong, Chief? Yin Yao didn't beat around the bush with them either. Where did these three females come from today? As soon as these words were spoken, the three men looked at each other, all feeling somewhat afraid. But they were even more afraid of the chief finding out the truth. We bought them at Yunmeng's. Yes, we spent all the cowrie shells you gave us. Especially the female in your cave. She was really expensive. Right. The three men said these words. But their eyes didn't dare to look at Yin Yao. Not only that, they kept dodging his gaze. Yin Yao stared straight at the three of them, without saying a word. The powerful pressure made the three males break out in cold sweat on their foreheads. Have those two females come over and speak. Hearing this, the three males immediately went weak in the legs. If those two females came over, wouldn't their misdeeds be exposed? If it really came to that, they probably wouldn't even know how they died. One of the males couldn't take it anymore. The chief's pressure was just too strong. His knees went weak, and he directly thudded to the ground, kneeling. "Chief, we were wrong. Please spare us." Yin Yao's eyes flickered slightly. "So these 3 people were the ones you snatched back, right?" The 3 of them nodded in unison. They didn't dare speak anymore. Yin Yao then raised a hand. With a wave, 3 sharp blades shot out. They went straight for their arms. Instantly, blood gushed out like a fountain. "Now, go immediately, and bring the other 2 females over. Let the sound effect come over." The 3 received the order and nodded. Not daring to look back, they flew straight away, although their wings were injured. The clan leader hadn't struck too heavily. They could still manage to fly. Shen Yuran was alone, crouched on the bed in the cave. It was very quiet all around. Only the sound of the wind howling outside the cave. Her tense nerves finally relaxed at this moment. She soon collapsed onto the soft animal hide and fell asleep. When Yin Yao returned, he saw her curled up quietly in the corner. The appearance of deep sleep. At this moment, the other 2 females who were abducted along with her were waiting in the small cave next door. But looking at the peaceful, sleeping form of this female before him, he actually felt a bit reluctant in his heart. From the first moment he saw her on the cliff, he had already considered her as a lifelong partner. He never thought that one day she would leave him. And that day would come so quickly. Suddenly, the person before him murmured something in her sleep. He immediately pulled the nearby animal hide blanket over to cover her. The nights in this cave are not as warm as down the mountain. The wind is particularly strong. It's also very cold. Let out a long sigh. Forget it. Just let him be selfish this once. I'll send him back tomorrow. Early the next morning, as soon as Shen Yuran opened her eyes, she saw the sleeping face right in front of her, scaring her into immediately sitting bolt upright. Seeing the animal skin clothes still on her body, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, thank goodness. Don't worry, I wouldn't take advantage of someone in a vulnerable state. A voice came from beside her. Only then did she realize the person next to her had been awake for a while. Yin Yao got up, turning his back to her as he rose. I'll take you back today. What? Shen Yuran, suddenly hearing this, felt there was something wrong with her ears. What did you say? Yin Yao. And the other two females who came with you will be sent back to the Sunset Tribe with you. Now Shen Yuran heard it clearly. Her heart leaped with joy. She quickly got out of bed and put on her animal skin shoes. As soon as she looked up, there was a pair of strong and powerful legs standing in front of her, followed by a very serious and cold face. With just one glance, Shen Yuran knew he was unhappy. Could it be that what was said earlier was testing her? After all, they were the ones who kidnapped her. It had only been one night. And now, they said they would let her go. No matter how she thought about it, it didn't seem reasonable. Was it that, as soon as she agreed, he would punish her severely? Thinking of this, her heart skipped a beat. She slowly stood up, meeting his icy gaze. Why? Could it be that you don't like me? As soon as the word "like" came out, Yin Yao's heart